with a hot-handed quarterback of their own. For 5-4, and the Miami Dolphins at 7-2 in first place in the AFC East. Hello again, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton, and the Miami Dolphins, injuries in their backfield. The big story for them, Keith Byers and Bernie Parmalee, their leading receiver and rusher, respectively, not playing. Byers out for the year. And Matt Millen, I've got to ask you how those injuries affect the Dolphins today.
Well, certainly they're going to affect them in the run and passing game. But, you know, they have this guy named Dan Marino, not too bad of a guy. And last week, when everybody got hurt, Marino just stepped right up, got the drive at the end, pinpoint passing, and they always have that. Now, they're going to miss Byers in the passing game, but where that slack will be picked up today is a guy named O.J. McDuffie. And McDuffie has big playability. In fact, Marino told us last week that he hasn't had that kind of thing since Mark Clayton was a player here.
Meanwhile, the Chicago Bears going again with Steve Walsh, who played his college ball at Miami, undefeated at 4-0 this year. What must the Bears do if they're going to challenge the Dolphins today?
Well, I think they've got to play good, solid defense. Now, part of their defense today is going to be Steve Walsh because they've got to play game control, ball control offense to offset Marino. They can't have him on the field. And I think the other thing you have to remember is they do not make mistakes. They've got to do everything picture perfect, not have the turnovers, and you get the feeling talking to Dave Wannstedt that if Walsh falters at all, he won't hesitate in pulling the string and putting Kramer in.
Bears have never beaten the Dolphins in Miami, and this is the first time they played in the regular season at Joe Robbie Stadium. And we'll return for the opening kickoff right after these messages from your local Fox station.
You're watching Fox NFL Sunday.
All new Baywatch, a surveillance by the Surge, brings the FBI to Baywatch.
Well, anything I can do to help?
You are window dressing, Mr. Buchanan. The best way you can help is by not interfering.
But when tempers heat up...
What is it with you anyway?
There's a lot at stake here, and I'm not going to let some wave jockey blow it for me.
Will they both get burned?
We have an emergency situation here. We need backup.
On an all-new Baywatch.
6 o'clock tonight on Fox.
I'm doing my job.
Right.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do?
You did the right thing by telling somebody.
I love this job. Where else can you drive against traffic on a one-way street at 60 miles an hour?
Bad boys, what you gonna do?
I guess it's you and me, partner.
6 o'clock weeknights on Fox 28.
Cheating has caused most of the recent Hollywood divorces.
The Costners, charges of infidelity. The Arnolds, allegations of abuse. The Segals, restraining orders.
Cheryl claims that Steven Seagal was behind thugs beating her up.
We'll get the latest inside scoop on Hollywood's dirty divorces. Plus, a hard copy special report. First Thigh Cream, now the new way to fight fat that celebrities can't get enough of. The Thigh Wrap on hard copy.
6:30 Monday on Fox 28.
The cast of General Hospital living and loving in Puerto Rico and meet the world's sexiest supermodel on Entertainment Tonight.
7:30 Monday on Fox 28.
Here at Joe Robbie Stadium, it is 76 degrees at kickoff time, and we have winds that should gust to 30 miles per hour. We've had rain earlier today and a lot of rain yesterday, and showers are likely the rest of this afternoon, which could be a factor. Don Shula, head coach of the Miami Dolphins, 12-5 career mark against the Bears. Dave Wannstedt, who worked for Don Shula briefly as a linebacker coach prior to being named defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys back in 1989, leading the Bears, who are playing back-to-back games in the state of Florida. Bears defeated Tampa Bay 20-6 last Sunday, and coming back to the heat and humidity of Florida, the Bears have won the toss and they'll receive. Miami with a 64-19 record interconference-wise and 11-1 against the NFC at Joe Robbie Stadium.
And you see all the showers that went on here yesterday, and you look at the field's in pretty good shape. Now, Joe Robbie has those pumps underneath and pump most of that out of there, all the water out of there. So I don't think footing is going to be a problem today. Should be a pretty good day for that.
Well, for the record, the Dolphins have now lost 9 out of 10 coin tosses to start the game. Obviously has not affected their season's record of 7-2. Pete Stoyanovich will be kicking off for the Dolphins. And back deep for the Bears is Nate Lewis. Dolphins have won 3 in a row and come in with a 2-game lead in the AFC East. And the game is underway. A short end-over-end kick. Heading over to the right side. And Robert Reed returning for the Bears. And Chicago will take over on first down. So Tony Carter on the return. It'll be first down for the Chicago Bears, and Steve Walsh coming off what Dave Wanstead said was his best game of the year in the victory over Tampa Bay. The offensive line, Andy Keck, 90%, but he's in there with Bort, Fontenot, Leuenberg, and James Big Cat Williams. Lewis Tillman and Raymond Harris. Harris had a big game last week. Conway and Graham are the wide receivers, and Marv Cook is the tight end. First down on the 30. And Walsh's first pass off the hands of Graham is incomplete. And it'll be second down. Defensively for the Miami Dolphins, and they have stepped it up in a big way in the last 5 games. Up front, Marco Coleman, Chuck Klingbeil, Tim Bowens, an impressive rookie, and Larry Webster, who's playing in place of Jeff Cross with a sprained ankle. Dwight Hollier is starting in place of the rookie Aubrey Beavers at outside linebacker, Brian Cox in the middle, and Chris Singleton. And J.B. Brown and Troy Vincent have been outstanding covermen for cornerbacks. Second down and 10. Walsh has time. He's going deep and has a receiver, and a penalty marker is down. Jeff Graham. The ball was out of bounds, but there's a flag downfield.
With the Chicago Bear offense, that might be the one shot you see downfield all day long. You see pass interference against the Miami Dolphins. And Graham broke down the side, working on J.B. Brown. And Walsh was patient enough to watch it. Watch it up top.
Number 37 of the defense.
J.B. Brown will take that hit.
First down.
Right there, he gets the jam at 12 yards. That's what they're going to make the call. And then Walsh was patient enough to wait for that to develop and then throw it downfield. When you watch this Chicago Bear offense under Walsh, the one trait that you really see is patience. Patience with the running game and the passing game.
J.B. Brown with the penalty, and a first down now for the Bears on the 35-yard line. Steve Walsh's numbers this season. And the give is to Raymond Harris going off the right side, and he is wrestled down by Troy Vincent. And a pickup of 4 yards for Harris, who had a big week last week with a 79 yards, his best game as a pro.
I think that Raymond Harris is the player that the Bears are really excited about. And they feel like they have a back who can run inside. He's learning to run outside. He catches the ball well. He's got to become a better blocker out of that fullback position. But he's eager, he's anxious, and most important, he's talented.
Both of these teams have struggled in the first quarter this year. The Bears and the Dolphins. Second down and 6 on the 39. And here is Lewis Tillman. Last week, Tillman and Harris shared the running back duties. Each carried 19 times. 2-yard gain this time with Klingbeil there.
Well, the Chicago Bears all season long have run between the tackles. That's where they've really been successful. And against this Miami Dolphin defense, that's going to be pretty tough, because they got 2 pretty good ones right there. See, Bowens 95 and Klingbeil. Bowens, the rookie, very, very talented, getting better each week. And Klingbeil, just a pure bulldog. I mean, he's going to fight you and bite you and anything he can to not let you get through there.
Third down and 4. Opening series of the game. Walsh, pass, overthrown. Graham was the intended receiver, and that will bring up fourth down. Steve Walsh, who quarterbacked the Miami Hurricanes to the National College title back in 1987. But that was in the Orange Bowl, and fourth down, the Bears will punt, and Chris Gardocki, who has struggled lately, particularly against Tampa Bay, will be kicking it away, and O.J. McDuffie back deep for the Dolphins. to give the Bears a chance to cover it. McDuffie on the 20-yard line is hit at about the 23-yard line by Joe Kane. That was a 41-yard kick. Joe Green and his Miami defense will be back.
Cotton wrinkle-free Dockers. Pants so soft, they shrug off wrinkles.
What would you give for a Big Mac Extra Value Meal? That tempting, towering Big Mac. Large fries and an icy Coke. What about the doubly delectable Cheeseburger Extra Value Meal? How about $2.99 each? Just 2 of the 4 $2.99 Extra Value Meals at McDonald's.
Investing? They'll eat you alive. You'll never be able to retire. Your dog knows more about investing than you do. You'll never get a decent return. Wake up! You're having that retirement nightmare again. It's awful. Don't worry. MetLife has Preference Plus variable annuities. Tax deferred. Easy to understand even for the first-time investor. Thanks, Linus. I'll look into it in the morning. Or sooner. Get Met. It pays.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Levi. 100% cotton, wrinkle-free Dockers. Pants so soft they shrug off wrinkles. By Coors Light. Reach for Coors Light, the silver bullet, and keep on moving. By McDonald's, the official restaurant of the National Football League. And by Norelco Razor for our closest shave ever.
One of the greats, Dan Marino, quarterbacking the Dolphins, completed 30 passes last week, a season's high. 19 touchdown passes, leads the league. The offensive line, Richmond Webb, Keith Sims, Jeff Dellenbach. Chris Gray is in there in place of the injured Bert Widener. Spikes and Saxon in the backfield. McDuffie and Pryor, the receivers, and Keith Jackson, the tight end, as the Dolphins start from their 23. And a pitch back from Spikes and a flea flicker on the first play of the game is caught by Irving Fryer. So the Dolphins get fancy and pick up 11 yards and a first down with James Burton covering. The Bears defensively, and they have struggled against the run this year. And their defensive line up front. Alonzo Spellman, Chris Orridge, Carl Simpson is playing in place of the injured Albert Fontenot, who will see action. And Armstrong is out. Kane, Jones, and Smith, the linebackers. Burton, the rookie. They'll be under the gun today. Carrier, Gale, and Wolford, the rest of the secondary. First down on the 34-yard line, and here is Irving Spikes. Spikes brings it up past the 35-yard line, and a gain of a couple. Vincent Smith, the linebacker, making the play.
Now, a lot of things change year to year, and a lot of things stay the same. And Dan Marino has stayed the same throughout his career. And I think he's always the constant with this Miami Dolphin offense. And I think the one change that's happened this year with the Dolphins is that they're committed to running the football. I think in years past they tried it and then got off of it and then just relied solely on Marino, but now they stay with it.
Second down and 8. Marino with a lot of time, and that's been his story this year, and Keith Jackson unable to hold on to it. Marino has had time all year. He has been sacked only 8 times, and that's the fewest of any quarterback in the NFL. Only the Cowboys, Aikman, has been sacked fewer.
Well, if this is any indicator of how this game will be, Marino will have a big day because there's absolutely zero pressure. I mean, he could read Tolstoy back there. And then he looks to his first, second, and third receiver, and then comes off to the fourth, and, of course, Jackson doesn't hold on to it.
That's a big book to read.
That's a big, thick book to read. And that offensive line is playing well enough to allow him to read that thing.
Third down and 8. Bears have 7 defensive backs against Marino out of the shotgun. Again with a lot of time, and the pass is caught by McDuffie. And that'll be another Dolphin first down as they get into Bear territory and a pickup of 14.
Yeah, see, now this is what you can't do to Marino. They're rushing 3, and they're dropping 8. Look, you got 1, 2, 3 here, and then you're going to have 8 guys back in here. And with all the time that Marino has, McDuffie's able to just work the zone. See that right there? Right in the middle of that zone. What he does is he goes down, finds the gray area, settles, and with the time, Marino just picks you apart.
O.J. McDuffie was the #1 pick from Penn State last year. Big play potential. First down on the 50-yard line. They fake a draw, and again Marino with time, and that pass is incomplete. He was going for Keith Jackson, and right now let's check in with the third member of our team down on the field, Ron Pitts. Ron?
You know, guys, a lot's been said all week about the rain, but the problem here right now is the wind. It's swirling like crazy in every end of the field. You don't know where it's coming from. And remember, that's one thing Dan Marino talked about during the week. He's concerned about throwing in the wind. Let's see how it affects them. Back upstairs, you guys.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Ron Pitts. I think Marino, when he has problems, it's always been when the wind has picked up. In fact, he talked about it at length, which meant it's in his mind. Good bother.
Pryor and McDuffie line to the left now. McDuffie goes in motion on 2nd and 10. You can hear the wind. And Marino with a lot of time, and the pass is caught at about the 41-yard line by Irving Pryor, and a gain of 8 yards. Tell you, Marino has all day and then some to get the passes off.
Yeah, and then when finally he does get pressure, he's able to just make you miss and step right back up into the pocket. Watch, they run the stunt. He's going to come clean inside, and then all he does, he just makes Simpson miss by just taking that one little step. But as long as Dan Marino is going to have that kind of a pocket to step into and this much time, he's going to do this to you all day long.
Cleveland Gary, who's going to be used as a third down back, is in there now for the Dolphins. 3rd down and 2 on the Bears' 42-yard line. And out of the backfield, the pass is caught underneath by Keith Jackson, and that will be good enough for a first down. Vincent Smith on the stop and a pickup of 7 as the Dolphins move the ball in their first possession of the game.
Well, I think what's going to happen right now for the Chicago Bears is they're in the middle of a chess match that they're losing. So now what do? We've already rushed 3 and zoned everybody. Now you have one of 2 choices. You can start blitzing, which Marino eats up, or you can start match zoning. Let's see what they do here.
Mike Williams, number 87 in the game, and wide receiver to the top. On the 35-yard line, here's Irving Spikes. Spikes cutting inside. Vincent Smith again. Spikes last week scored his first career touchdown. And, of course, he had a great game against the Green Bay Packers earlier this year when he gained 70 yards on 13 carries. Only 5'8", but the Dolphins have confidence in him as a runner.
Well, they should, because he's an explosive guy, and more important, he's hard to see. He's one of those guys that you just stay behind running, let everything develop, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's right on top of you. So he's tough to keep track of.
2nd down and 7. First quarter winding down to 9 minutes. On the delay, Spikes up the middle. And that's what the Dolphins wanted from Irving Spikes. A first down inside the 25-yard line. Joe Kane that time.
Well, remember, we talked about how they're committed to the run. And what the Dolphins have done here is they've softened the defense with the passing game. And so they've just let Spikes settle into the game plan and let the defense make an adjustment, and now you run that counter back inside and you just blow it right up in. And what that does is it offsets the defense and it gives Spikes confidence.
Well, if the Bears wanted to keep Marino off the field, they're not doing a pretty good job of it thus far. First down on the 24 of Chicago. Marino's pass caught. Keith Jackson and the big tight end gets inside the 10-yard line. Dante Jones on the tackle, and it'll be 1st and goal for the Dolphins.
So the Bears to counter, they go to their man down here. And now you have a matchup of Jackson on Dante Jones, one that Jackson wins. And you see Jones comes in from the backside, but when you have so much time, I don't care who's covering, it doesn't make a bit of difference. Marino's going to get you.
11th play of the drive coming up. 1st and goal at the 9. There's Spikes, and he'll lose some yardage. Alonzo Spellman penetrating nicely. And a loss of 3.
Speaking to Donnell Wolford last night, he was saying, now the one area that we have been playing pretty well is down here in the red zone. And the one area that the Dolphins have not been playing very well is the red zone. So he said, if we can, we get them down there, and they're in a position to score a touchdown. If we can hold them to field goals, then we're going to be in pretty good shape.
The Dolphins with only 9 points scored this season, worst in the NFL. It'll be second down and goal from the 12. And a fade pattern incomplete. They were going to O.J. McDuffie, and the rookie James Burton was covering him well.
Yeah, well, he knew the matchup he wanted. He knows there's a rookie out there in Burton, and he likes O.J. McDuffie's ability to make a big catch. So he got the push up on the corner, and right before the ball was snapped, he gave him a hand signal, and then as soon as the ball, he just set it right to the corner to test the rook.
5th round draft pick out of Kansas City Chiefs. Fresno State was the school, and he was waived prior to the first game of the year. 3rd and goal. Cleveland Gary in the Dolphins lineup. And again, the pass tipped. Gary was the intended receiver. The pass is incomplete. Again, Marino had time, but Dante Jones and Mark Carrier broke that pass up at the 1.
Well, it sounds like Donnell Wolford was right. You know, he liked their chances down inside the red zone, and for whatever reason, the Dolphins just kind of stalled right there inside the 10.
Marino's numbers so far. So Pete Stoyanovich, who kicked the winning field goal with 4 seconds remaining last week to beat the Colts in a great rally by the Dolphins, will attempt a 30-yard field goal now, and Jim Arnold will hold. By Stoyanovich is good. It is officially a 29-yard field goal, and the Dolphins score on their first possession of the game.
At the end of the day, more top mechanics in America choose One Motor Oil over any other brand to help keep their own cars running longer. Valvoline Motor Oil. People who know use Valvoline.
Goodyear announces 25% off some of our most popular passenger, performance, and light truck radials. 25% off. But you gotta hurry. The sale ends December 3rd at participating Goodyear retailers.
Get it moving. And the silver bullet has the taste to keep it moving. Coors Light. Keep on moving. Naturally brewed for a taste that goes down easy. Coors Light. Keep on moving.
Would we claim the Norelco razor shaves closer than ever without hundreds of tests to back it up?
Left guard Keith Sims being worked on and having his ankles taped, both of them, as the Dolphins lead 3-0. Dolphins and the Bears are the lowest scoring teams in the NFL in the first quarter this year, and there is Dan Marino, who was 5 for 9 on that first drive. But a good drive, 65 yards that used up more than 6 minutes of this first quarter, and the Bears will get their hands on the ball for the second time. Pete Stoyanovich will be kicking. Nate Lewis is the deep man. And the wind blew the ball off the tee. So we'll be kicking again. While we have a moment, we want to remind you that this is Dick Stockton along with Matt Millen of Fox Sports, welcoming viewers around the world, especially in Canada, Germany, Mexico, and the United Kingdom. And we know you're enjoying this game as much as our viewers here at home on the Fox network. Don Shula, the winningest coach of all time, looking for the 8th win of the year, and if he gets it, it will assure a 500 season, which he has enjoyed for all but 2 of his years down here in Miami. Stoyanovich with the kick, and Nate Lewis returning for the Bears. Lewis may have some room, and he is ridden out of bounds, and a flag goes down. Muhammad Oliver made the tackle, but there's a penalty marked out after a 28-yard return. Dale Hamer, our referee, will explain.
See, Lewis has a lot of room on that side, then Muhammad Oliver just comes up, and he just gets that hand.
5 yards from the end of the run.
And he gives it a pretty good yank here, actually.
So they'll bring the ball up close to the 40-yard line, in fact, right on it. where the Bears will go to work. And again, they talked about Steve Walsh and his ability to make the right decisions.
Well, he's going to have to make some real good decisions, because what the Dolphins are doing right now is disrupting his timing. And Walsh has been a quarterback whose passes have been on time.
Conway in motion, and the give is to Tillman. Lewis Tillman has nowhere to go, and the Dolphins throw him for a loss for about a yard or two, led by Larry Webster.
Well, I think this is a departure for the Bears in the running game. Now, Ron Turner told us last night that they're going to try to run the ball outside. And when you start doing something that's not normal for your team, pulling guards outside and trying to get tackles outside, that's not something typical of the offense. I think that takes time to develop, and you don't develop it in a week.
Second down and 11. You saw Mike Schuler, one of Don Shula's sons. Tight end coach of the Bears. And Walsh's pass incomplete. Conway, and the pass was thrown behind him. And that will bring up third and long. Walsh 0 for 3 now. And you mentioned at the top that if Walsh is not getting it done, Dave Wanstead has no hesitation in going to Eric Kramer.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't come out and say that, but you really got the distinct feeling that he knows Kramer's got the stronger arm, and you know that Walsh is almost an easier quarterback to defend because of what he can't do. And if it gets to be a problem, I expect to see Kramer.
Frank Vesey has been in at the defensive tackle in place of Klingbeil, who has a jammed thumb. Third down and 11. Walsh's pass, and he still has not completed one. Trying to go to Conway at the sideline, and the Bears will have to kick again. Well, and there's another flag.
Yeah, and that time, Walsh, the ball was where it had to be, but Conway slipped coming out of his break, so there was no chance.
Bears will get another chance. The penalty appears to be against Miami.
Offside. Defense, number 51, lined up in the neutral zone.
Brian Cox, offside.
Yeah, he's right down here, and it looked like he lined up offside. It looked like he had a pretty good jump on it. But Big Cat Williams pushed him upfield, and that allowed Walsh to step up. Now, again, the ball was thrown on timing, and it was where it had to be, but Conway slipped in his break.
Third down and goal on the 3rd and 6, that is, on the 44-yard line. Robert Green, the third down back for the Bears, number 22. Here comes the rush. Walsh gets hit, and Conway got one hand on it, but a big pass rush that time by Brian Cox.
Well, you know, he makes up with the mistake of lining up offside. This time, nobody picks him up. I mean, they just slide the other way. See Cox up here. Nobody touches him. Heck looks inside, and then the guard, Borch, can't get out in time, and he just whacks Walsh.
He came in untouched, and quite a hit taken by Walsh. So fourth down, and Chris Gardocki will be kicking for the second time. O.J. McDuffie. And McDuffie is hit and dropped immediately by Maurice Douglas at the 16-yard line. That was a 39-yard kick, but more important for the Bears, no return.
Over the years, some pretty hungry folks.
Mo Douglas, 37's an old pro outside. He's working against the inside of Braxton. Now watch how he turns him around, and then Sean Hill is late getting there. So you can't do that to Maurice Douglas. If you're going to double him, you double him from the line of scrimmage, because if you try the inside-out stuff, he'll run right through it and make a play. He's been doing it for too long. In his 9th season, still runs well and has a head for the ball.
Dolphins will start from the 17-yard line, leading 3-0. Again, you can hear the wind gusting. Give is to Irving Spikes, flag now. Spikes doesn't get much, maybe a yard and a half. Alonzo Spellman, who was ejected from the Tampa Bay game last week for fighting, made the tackle.
Holding, number 69 of the offense, half a distance to the goal. Repeat first down.
Pete Sims holding, and so that will bring the ball inside the 10-yard line. So a chance for the Bears, who trail 3-0. to see if they can keep Marino hemmed in. So far, Dan Marino has had all the time he needs to get his passes off. First down and 18. And spikes off the right side, his running room, and James Burton will wrestle him out of bounds, close to the original line of scrimmage. In fact, an 8-yard pickup.
And again, they got Marino working on another rookie, and this time Marino audibles against the rookie to the top, and it's going to be Theory, 94. See what Theory does? He comes right back inside, and all he did was he make the block for him. And then Saxon outside on Vincent Smith just gets on him and keeps pushing and allows Spikes to go up. Now, if that was a stunt, somebody had to cover for him, and if they didn't cover, that falls back on the defensive scheme.
Second down and 10. Play fake. Marino, and he's sacked for only the 9th time this year, and Alonzo Spellman kept fighting inside and drops Marino for a loss of 4.
Yeah, effort from Spellman, and then it's a coverage sack because there was time, but everybody downfield, they roll the corners up, and they get the jam, and then they're just playing that 4 across. See, they start here, and they're reading back inside with the safeties over the top, nowhere to throw that football. And then a good job right here matching up inside by Joe Kane. That allows Spellman to get there.
Only Denver and Tampa Bay came in the game with fewer sacks than the Bears, just their 13th of the year. 3rd and 14. Gary in the backfield with 4 wide receivers. 3 of them to the right side, and this pass is nearly picked off. And it was Donnell Wolford, and there were no Dolphin receivers in sight.
So right here, the Chicago Bears, this is one. Score some points for the Bears right here. They had to come down and hold them back there to get some field position, and they've done just that. Good job of secondary coverage.
The big key, though, for the Bears will be when they get good field position, which they should, what Steve Walsh will do to get them in position to at least try a field goal. Jim Arnold, who has been struggling in his own right, will be kicking from the end zone, and Curtis Conway back deep for the Bears. Good high kick, and Conway at midfield will run it and pick up a couple of yards. Muhammad Oliver makes the stop, and so the Bears will begin in Dolphin territory when we return to Joe Robbie Stadium.
Working to be the best. Teammates. Sponsored by the U.S. Army.
Have you met Charlie? No, I ain't met. What's up?
Now everyone knows Charlie Garner. The Eagles rookie sensation has brought a new element of excitement to their attack.
Can't break the tackle. He's in! Charlie Garner! Randall Cunningham!
Garner, paired with acrobatic Randall Cunningham, has helped make the high-flying Eagles the best they can be.
We've got sunshine for the first time after overcast skies and a lot of rain this morning. The Dolphins lead 3-0. Bears had to punt in their first 2 possessions, but now have good field position as they start from the Dolphin 47. First play is a running play, Raymond Harris, and Harris picks up a couple. 4-yard pickup, actually. Tim Bowens, the rookie defensive tackle, making the stop.
That Tim Bowens, he's going to be something special. You know, they took kind of a risk on him, taking him that high. The young guy only played only a few games in his college career, but Joe Green has really done a great job with him. He's down to about 310, not that 317, and he is one strong man inside.
Second down and 7. Walsh had some time, pumps once, and underneath goes to Harris, who's hit immediately at the 40-yard line. Dwight Hollier making the tackle, and it'll be 3rd and about 3 or 4. And right now, for a McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown in our Hollywood studio.
Hey, Dick, the Vikings going for 5 straight, off to a good start. Warren Moon, a 38-yard fade pattern completion to Jake Reed. That set up Terry Allen, and easy pickings here, 2-yard dive. Minnesota on top of New England by the score 10-0, 24 seconds left in the first. Back to Dick and Matt.
Well, the fans are in force today, even those on the field. It'll be 3rd down and 3 at the 40-yard line. 2 tight ends for the Bears. Walsh's pass is caught for the first down, and Graham, the leading receiver for Chicago, on a good slant pattern, has a first down at the 31.
Yeah, Dick, that was all Jeff Graham because he was pressed up in the corner, J.B. Brown, and then watch. This is where receivers can be physical. See where they push off? And he knows where the first down marker is. He just pushes them back upfield, knowing that he's working within that 5-yard bump area, and then just turns around and Walsh gets it to him.
Here's a receiver who had played with Pittsburgh who has gained more and more confidence each week. Raymond Harris going off the right side, cutting up the middle and gets about 5 or 6 yards. Michael Stewart, the strong safety, makes the play. Listen to Walsh at the line.
Come up, you can see his eyes. He's looking downfield to see if anybody makes an adjustment. And when he sees no adjustment, he just goes back to the regular huddle call. You can see Coleman's down there shaking up a little bit. But so much of audibling for a quarterback is what he sees, and then that the offensive line and receivers and backs also have to see the same thing. If they don't see it, you're not on the same page, it's not going to work.
Marco Coleman leaves the game, and William Gaines, a rookie from the University of Florida, has replaced him up front. It'll be 2nd down and 4 for Steve Walsh. You want to talk about the definition of student of the game, I'd say Steve Walsh is one.
Yeah, and that audibling works to one of the strengths of Steve Walsh because he sees the field as well as any quarterback in the league.
2nd down and 4 on the 25. Walsh is going to throw, has time, and there's the tight end. Keith Jennings in double coverage very nearly picked up the ball. It seemed to float as it got to him. Troy Vincent was covering downfield.
And Atkins got over there from the center of the field, and that's a good job of playing the center of the field. Now Walsh looks it over, and he knows he has Jennings coming across. Now watch the closing speed right here. Watch them close on that wounded duck that's in the air. Atkins coming over to help Vincent and shotgun that thing out of there.
Atkins timed that perfectly. Nate Lewis in the game and wide receiver, 3rd and 4. And the flip to Conway in the backfield. Curtis Conway finding it short of the first down. So a new wrinkle for the Bears. We've already seen a flea flicker by the Dolphins and a gain of only 1.
Yeah, but it also is decision time. Do you kick into the wind at this end with it swirling, or do you go for it? And I think they're going to kick it.
Kevin Butler will come on for the Bears to try to tie this game. Gardocki will hold.
Then they're going with the old lineup on one side and see what happens on the other.
A very unorthodox lineup and a fake. Conway looking to throw. Conway throws it up for grabs. Downfield tipped and it's deflected.
Touchdown, Jennings
for the touchdown.
Unbelievable.
That was a play that didn't work and then worked.
Well, they drew it up like that, didn't they?
I'm not so sure. Jerry Fontenot, the center, tipped it in the air, and it was Keith Jennings who found the ball and went in for the Bears touchdown. Now I've seen everything.
Well, they came out with that funky lineup, and they send everybody to one side, and they make the defense adjust. Then they flipped it over there. Conway come running back the other side. His intentioned receiver was Marv Cook. He was covered, so he basically throws it up for grabs, just like they drew it up in practice.
Right.
And they got the score.
Right. We are seeing a few strange plays so far in this game. Jennings, who caught a touchdown pass last week. Now Kevin Butler is on and a flag. Have you ever seen a play like that?
Well, I've seen that lined up like that. And it's practiced all the time.
Try the snap, number 62, 5 yards. Repeat the try.
And those things are practiced all the time. But the chances of you ever doing it a game are so rare that you very rarely see it.
That was a fake field goal attempt, and Conway running around looking for a receiver, and Jennings wound up with it after the deflection. So they move it back 5 yards for Kevin Butler. This is a 25-yard kick, and it is good. And the Bears, on a strange play and even stranger execution, have taken the lead over the Dolphins 7-3.
Well, what's really strange about it is they come out this already. Now you know something's up, so the defense has to adjust. Now they'll snap the ball, and they're going to get it right over here to Conway, sitting there. See, they go right back to him, and now he rolls back. Now Cook is the intentioned receiver right down here. See that? He doesn't see it, has nowhere to go, so he figures, what the heck, I'll throw it up. And then a good job by Fontenot, really, of keeping it alive. I mean, he actually was trying to catch it, but he caught it like a lineman. And the ball just popped up, and then Jennings just happened to be there.
And Williams, the wide receiver, very nearly caught up to Conway.
You know, you're going to look at this in the stats tomorrow, and Conway's going to say, boy, I had him perfect. You see this perfect throw I threw to him. Meanwhile, credit Fontenot for tipping it up in the air. That's the old tip drill, and Jennings got 6.
Jennings' second touchdown catch in as many weeks. He caught only 1 pass last week against Tampa Bay, and that was good for a score. And the Bears lead 7-3. And Conway with his first NFL touchdown pass.
I know it's going to sound a lot better than what it looked.
You think he'll keep that tape for the ages? Gardocki kicking off for the Bears. And it's going to be McDuffie a yard in the end zone for Miami. And McDuffie with a penalty marker down at about the 15 rides it out to the 29. Mark Carrier there. Dale Hamer, we've mentioned his name more than any other player so far.
Yeah, he's having a good game. He's making some good plays out there today.
Holding number 52 on a return, 10 yards, spot of the foul, first down.
Well, that'll set the Dolphins back some more. Well, move over Wayne Gretzky. Tonight, Bart and Lisa Simpson are hitting the ice in the ultimate hockey match. Catch a brand new Simpsons, part of a full hour tonight at 8, 7 Central, hosted by football greats Bubba Smith and Kenny Stabler. He shoots and a save. Dolphins starting from their 9-yard line. Trailing 7-3. Here's Irving Spikes. Was trapped behind the line of scrimmage and breaks out to the left. And Spikes picks up 8 yards. Dante Jones making the tackle as the clock is winding down. And that is the end of the first quarter here at Joe Robbie Stadium with the score. The Chicago Bears 7, the Miami Dolphins 3.
Doubleheader Sunday. It's the game of the year. The defending Super Bowl champion Cowboys meet the 49ers in a rematch of last year's NFC Championship game. It's all part of a Fox Doubleheader Sunday. Next.
First quarter statistics, and you got to remember that 23 of those 36 passing yards belong to Curtis Conway, the wide receiver.
That means 13 goes to Walsh, which is not what they needed or had to do. And then the Dolphins came out throwing, moving the ball. Now they bogged down a little bit. Let's see if they don't get back to that.
Start of the second quarter, Dick Stockton and Matt Millen. Second down and 2 on the 17 of the Dolphins. Here is Spikes, and he'll have the first down easily. Dante Jones making the tackle. On the Bears defense, Albert Fontenot, who did not start as playing defensive end, as John Theory has come out of the ball game. And Marco Coleman, who came out earlier, has a stinger, and he should return defensively for the Dolphins.
Well, they have Fontenot, and he had that stinger last week. I think Fontenot is their best defensive lineman. I think they have to find a way to keep him on the field all the time. And when you're injured, it's tough to do, I understand. But he's got to play all the time.
First down, Miami on their 21. Marino is going deep, but no one there. And it looked like a mix-up in the pattern run by Irving Fryer.
Yeah, Donnell Wolfer was matched up on Fryer outside in the corner. And he got his jam, and then he shut down right when Marino was throwing up. So I think that sounds bad, though. Marino was over here throwing up. Now you watch the jam down below. Now he gets the jam, and Marino's expecting him to go up. And the only thing that was open was the 47-yard line.
Throwing upfield may sound better.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah. So Marino's back there throwing up.
Field. Second down and 10. Cleveland Gary checks in for the Dolphins. Marino's pass to Gary. He holds on to it and is close to another first down. Kane makes the tackle. Carl Simpson was battling the running back downfield in a pickup of 8 yards.
Well, again, a lot of time to throw that football, particularly on the left side. Joe Sims, 69, and then Richmond Webb, 78. Those are two of the better pass blockers in the league. And see, Sims is just passing guys off and Webb outside. What they do very well is they work very well together as a team. And if one guy is clean, the other guy will come over and finish him off.
Saw Spellman complaining to the official that he was held. He came close to Marino that time. 3rd and 2. Here is Cleveland Gary running and stumbles a bit, and Alonzo Spellman undercut him. And the Bears have held defensively for the 2nd straight series, and that will bring up 4th down, and the Dolphins will kick.
Yeah, nice job by Alonzo Spellman of messing that play up. He just came blowing inside and cut everything out and forced the running back to redirect. Anytime, as a defender, you can make the offense adjust, you win.
First kick for Jim Arnold went 38 yards. That's Jeff Graham, not Conway, back deep for the Bears. And a fair catch called by Graham on the 33-yard line. So the Bears, who lead 7-3 early here in the 2nd quarter, go on the attack again.
The new Chrysler Cirrus has an advanced 24-valve V6. Its cab-forward design conveniently provides room for 5 and a vast array of new technology. It has dual airbags.
I see him lurking like a shadow. I sense he's somewhere, lurking. I hear his heartbeat. Ba-boom. 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 Rod?
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Chrysler Cirrus. It's not just a step above, it's the new plateau. By Heineken, the #1 imported beer. Heineken, just being the best is enough. By Aflac, insuring over 38 million people worldwide. And by Nike, who encourages you to participate in the lives of America's youth.
Another way besides ball control to combat the Miami Dolphins is have good field position. And so far, the Dolphins have started from their own 16. The Bears a lot better position. And they're on the attack again from the 33. Play fake. Walsh is going to his deepest pass, and it's caught by Curtis Conway, and a first down into Dolphin territory. He really zinged that one 20 yards downfield.
But this time, Walsh had himself some time, and that allowed Conway to work outside on Troy Vincent. Now, Vincent is a very good cover corner. They catch him here in zone, and he gets him turned around. And I don't care how good you are, you can't defend with your back to the ball.
Conway caught only one pass last week against Tampa Bay. First down on the Miami 47. And the handoff.
Oh, nice hit.
Raymond Harris.
Yeah, that's Raymond Harris ran in. Hello, Mr. Harris. I'm Mr. Cox. Ryan Cox has made a great change from the outside to the inside of that defense. And I think he's a better inside linebacker than outside. You know, he's got a big body. And then what you can't teach, he has. He has a great presence in there. He has a feel for things coming from both sides. A lot of times when you're on the outside, you get used to seeing things only from one side. But he's got the feel of them coming both ways.
And pretty impressive in pass coverage as well as we saw on the film. Second down and 8. The pass outside to Harris. And he is knocked out of bounds again by Brian Cox. There he is as a defender downfield. I know you were very impressed with him, and so let's take a look now at the Millen file and look closely at Brian Cox.
Yeah, well, Cox, he's better inside than outside. I think he has the instincts inside that separate him. He's instinctive, he's aggressive, he's a very tough guy. I mean, he'll come up and smack you. And the thing is, the image isn't everything, because when you think of Brian Cox, you think of this guy who's a loudmouth, who says all these things. Couldn't be further from the truth. I really have a lot of respect for this guy.
First down for the Bears. The give is to Tillman. Tillman gets about 3 yards on the play. You know, people get the wrong impression. You're right, and of course it all happened in that Buffalo incident.
Right.
But he is kind of a pussycat and an amiable guy and very popular amongst his teammates and really a leader of that linebacking corps.
Yeah, and he's really aware. You know, he's aware of what's going on in front of him. He's aware of what his teammates are capable of, and that's what really makes a leader, because he never puts the teammate in a position they can't handle.
Meanwhile, the Bears are driving on the Dolphin 32, second down and 7. Tillman blocking collapses, and Lewis Tillman is wrestled down. Now again, Brian Cox, and we're mentioning his name a lot, and a loss on that play of 2.
Well, the other thing is he's got the great range. You're going to watch him start inside. He's one of the few backers who starts up tight to the line of scrimmage. Then you watch him see, now that's a mistake, but because he has the speed, he's able to go underneath the block and still get outside to make a play.
Third down and 9. Up the middle and off the hands of Lewis Tillman.
And he had it. He had it all the way, and he knows it.
And Walsh knows it.
Now what he did was he threw the ball behind Tillman. Tillman, not the greatest receiver out of the backfield, but if he throws this ball ahead of him so he can run to it, so he can see it, instead of to his back shoulder, he had the coverage beat. You can see Singleton. That was a lot of room to run.
And with the wind at his back, Kevin Butler will try a 52-yard field goal. His longest this year has been 50 yards. Gardocki, the holder. And the kick is long enough, and the kick is no good. Off to the left. Butler with the wind, but misses it, and the Bears lead still by a score of 7-3.
Next week is my 5th wedding anniversary. It's unbelievable how time flies.
Did you get her a present yet?
Yeah, I'm getting her a really nice washer and dryer.
Oh, come on. She'll never forgive you. You got to get her something for her. It is for her.
No blondes and bikinis.
Get a jewel.
No sales pitch from the chairman.
Or vacation.
None of that is what made Heineken the #1 imported beer in America.
You think I should take her someplace special?
Definitely.
So maybe I'll take her to Cooperstown.
No.
You're adding too many trees.
I know what I'm doing. Programs like 3D Landscape spring to life with a Pentium processor inside your PC.
Okay, let's see it in 10 years.
The Intel Pentium processor.
He is the golden boy of River Highlands. He steps up to the tee.
Programs like PGA Tour Golf swing into action with a Pentium processor inside your PC.
It's in the hole.
The Intel Pentium processor.
When we asked 2-time Indy winner Emerson Fittipaldi to be involved in the development.
Bears missing a field goal from 52 yards out and leading 7-3 as the Miami Dolphins come out on their 42. Jim Flanagan is in for Carl Simpson at left defensive tackle for Chicago. Give is to Irving Spikes, has running room off the right side. Irving Spikes showing what he could do. Joe Kane and James Burton after a pickup of 15.
And that play is all on Theory, left defensive end. Because Theory doesn't quite understand that he's got to be able to hold outside leverage. Watch him right here. Now he's on a tight end. You've got to be able to control the outside. And when he gives up that shoulder, Spikes just takes advantage and blows around the corner.
And as a result of that, Albert Fontenot has now replaced Theory at defensive end. So they saw the same thing you did. First down on the 43, and the give to Spikes. Block, and Spikes gets to the 40 and gets hit hard by Fontenot. And right now, for a McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown in our Hollywood studio. JB?
Dick and Matt, Warren having himself a great first half thus far. A lot more confidence in Qadry Ismail. Take a look at that, a 65-yard toss. He takes it to the end zone. Warren Moon over 200 yards in the first half. Minnesota blanking New England. Back to Miami. Dick and Matt.
And the Vikings trying to go 8-2 on the year and off to a great start. Dolphins have second down and 6 on the Bear 39. Marino with time and zings this in, and the pass is caught by Irving Fryer inside the 20. And a gain that time of 20 yards. Burton covering.
Like on every good pass play, you get time to throw the football. And Marino drops back. Look at the pocket. No pressure, and he's able to step up into that thing. And then it doesn't take him long when he has that much time to go over at the rookie. Now, he's in zone, but he's got his back to the ball. And we talked about it earlier. I don't care how good you are or how poor you are, you cannot defend with your back to the ball.
Irving Fryer hampered with the flu this week. Miami nearly 50-50 on passes and runs. First down. Spikes. And Spikes is hit by the middle linebacker Dante Jones, and no gain. All the scoring in the first quarter. Pete Stoyanovich with a 29-yard field goal on the Dolphins' first possession. And then the Bears took the lead on a fake field goal attempt. Curtis Conway, the wide receiver, throwing on a deflection to Keith Jennings for the touchdown, the only TD in the game. Second down and 10 on the Bear 19. Cleveland Gary in for Miami. Gary's going to carry the ball. And he fights his way to the 15. Vincent Smith and Dante Jones both there, and a gain of 4.
Speaking to Don Shula yesterday, talking about Cleveland Gary, he said there's going to be an anxious moment. Now, he's coming in here to a new system and scheme, and he's a powerful guy, has pretty good speed, he said, but remember, when he's with the Rams, he dropped the ball a couple times, and that stuck with him. And that was a label that they don't want to stick on him here in Miami. They want to have a clean start.
Dolphins have gone through a lot of running backs. Terry Kirby, of course, was their chief running back before Parmalee, who got hurt. He'll be back next week with Brian Parmalee. Bernie Parmalee, third down and 6. And Cleveland Gary fumbles.
See, I think I jinxed him.
I'll never say that.
Well, there's a fight going on in the bottom of that pile. You know, whenever the official doesn't make it definitive right away, and they have to look, man, you fight like a bandit underneath there.
And the Dolphins recover.
We talked about that clean slate, and it's hard to explain why fumbles happen with the running back. You see, he has the ball tucked away, and then what happens is Flanagan hits him, but he's still fine. One of the problems that Cleveland Gary, and actually it's a good trait, is he has great second effort. And a lot of times he'll get hit and he'll keep on trying, and that's when he drops the ball.
Keith Jackson recovered the ball for the Dolphins. So you just talked about Gary goes to the sidelines, and it'll be 4th down and a 33-yard field goal attempt coming up by Pete Stoyanovich. He's already made good from 29 yards. Trying to bring the Dolphins closer here with 5:51 remaining in the second quarter. And the kick is good. He hooked it, but it was through the goalpost, and Stoyanovich is 2 for 2 today. A 33-yard field goal, and the Bears' lead has been cut to 1, 7-6. Don Shula with Bernie Kosar and Dan Marino. Kosar, of course, who played in Miami, and very comfortable, the relationship between Marino and Kosar.
Yeah, because there's no competition involved. And Bernie knows his role, Dan knows his role. But they also know that they have a player coach in Kosar, much like they had in Don Strock here a few years ago.
Pete Stoyanovich kicking off into the wind. Dave Lewis returning for the Bears. And he gets tripped up. He might have had some more room. Aaron Craver, who was just activated as a running back this week, makes the play. 21-yard return. Well, a big Fox doubleheader next Sunday. All begins with a pregame show. Most of you will see the Redskins and the Cowboys in their traditional rivalry. All games are good games. And then in the second half, the Eagles go against the Arizona Cardinals in a rematch of their game from last week. Atlanta's in Denver, New Orleans against the Raiders, and Tampa Bay and Seattle. Check your local listings next Sunday for Fox NFL Sunday. Big doubleheader next week. Bears with a first down on their 24, leading 7-6. Walsh up the middle, throws, and it's caught by Raymond Harris. Harris will have a first down. Michael Stewart covering.
Remember last time the Bears had the football, they tried to do that same pattern with Lewis Tillman back inside on Singleton. Well, this time what they did was they just took Raymond Harris, who's a better receiver, out of the backfield. Same pattern, same coverage, and a first down.
Walsh missed his first 4 passes and has come up since then. 1st and 10 on the 35. Handoff. Harris again. Raymond Harris getting a chance to run the ball a lot more, and he said at Ohio State he was never a blocker. In fact, you asked him, how often did you block at Ohio State? And he said nil.
Nil, yeah. Let me make no mistake about it, I never did. What a great personality this kid has, Raymond Harris. He came down there, he's wearing his psycho wear, told us to hurry up. He had chicken wings up in his room. I mean, besides being a good fullback, he's a pig.
Well, I'm glad you said that.
That's right.
But you mean it in a lovable way.
Oh, yeah, I like that kid. He's a player.
2nd down and 9. Movement, and let's see whether Marco Coleman was drawn offside by the left side of the Bears offense.
Well, you know, when the Bears have tried to run back inside, they've not had any success because Chuck Klingbeil and Bowens, the rookie, are really playing well. I mean, they've solidified this defense.
Offside, number 90 of the defense, 5 yards, still 2nd down.
Now, you see, when you look at the Miami Dolphin defense, traditionally, they had not been strong in their up-front people. And when you watch them now, you say, boy, they're pretty good at it. And the reason is because of Klingbeil, Bowens, and then you put Cox in the middle. And now I think they're strong right down the center of that defense.
Andy Heck goes out of the game, and Todd Perry replaces him. Perry is in for Bortz. 2nd down and 4. Handoff is to Raymond Harris. On 2nd and short, will bring up 3rd down and about 3 after a pickup of 1 Tim Bowens on the stop.
And that Bowens, every time they run inside, and he's right there. You watch big old number 95, and he's just a powerful, powerful man. And in fact, he's wrong there. He was too high. The guard came out and got under him, so what he did, heck, he just threw him out of the way. And that's an impressive kid. He doesn't know how good he can be yet. When he figures it out and Joe Green gets finished teaching him, he could be something special.
Walsh's pass, tipped, intercepted, penalty marker down. Troy Vincent down the sidelines. Another flag is down as Vincent goes into the end zone, but there are 2 penalty markers.
Well, I think the first one is going to be pass interference on Troy Vincent. And it's going to be interesting because he was within the 5-yard bump. And so you have to say, was he still in the middle of the jam, or did he hit him and then come off and then hit him again?
You're right on that call. It's against the Dolphins, nullifying a 47-yard return.
Watch Vincent up top. Now, he's within the 5 yards right there. Oh, so there was a separation, and he came back and got him before the ball got there. So that's a good call. And what they're doing to these receivers is they're coming up and they're jamming them at the line of scrimmage. And then that ball's in the air, and Vincent's right on top of it. But they're jamming the wide receivers, and they're trying to disrupt the timing in the passing game. And they're daring Walsh to throw the ball downfield.
Fouls on a defense. After the interception, that penalty is declined. Pass interference, number 35. That penalty is accepted. First down.
It's against Troy Vincent, number 23. But, you know, you really take one of the weapons away from the Bears, because if you're making Walsh now go deep, which is not something he likes to do, Eric Kramer is more the deep thrower. This presents a problem for Chicago.
Yeah, but right now, it's not been a problem because they're moving the football. Even though it's been with some penalties and they're running outside, but they're dink, dink, dink down the field. And as long as they can do that, what the Bears are doing is lulling Miami kind of into a sleep to play at their own pace, and this works into the Bears' strength.
First down at midfield following the 8-yard penalty. Walsh passes out to Raymond Harris, and Michael Stewart was right there, so they're definitely going underneath Longest pass was 20 yards downfield by Walsh thus far. Pickup of 2 that time.
Well, he's getting some time right now, and he's letting the ball go quick. So that requires quick reads from Walsh. So he'll look right down in his progression and go 1, 2, 3. If they're not there, he's not adverse to dropping it off and taking whatever's available.
Keep in mind the wind is at his back, which should help the Bears and Butler if they get close enough. 2nd and 8. There's Lewis Tillman, breaks the tackle. And Lewis Tillman may have another Bear first down inside the 40. Brian Cox downfield making the tackle on Tillman, who came into the game as the leading rusher for Chicago.
They're going to start that thing back inside and then bounce it outside. And then Cox is just waiting him, cat and mouse, and then a nice hold right there on Bowens. He can't get there. And then Cox eventually does get over. But what the Bears are doing, they're not having success running at the center of that defense. So now you start it inside, draw the defense in, and then bounce it outside.
And Tillman picked up 9 yards, and our 2-minute warning here at Joe Robbie Stadium. The Bears on the march, and we'll be back.
When we asked 2-time Indy winner Emerson Fittipaldi to be involved...
Ryan, the Eagles didn't roll out the welcome mat. They rolled over Arizona with 5 sacks in a grudge match in the crunch zone.
Recovered by Bonnet.
Don't watch.
Our Aflac trivia question, who was the first head coach of the Dolphins? They've only had 2. You're looking at the other one, but the answer, George Wilson, who was the first head coach of the Miami Dolphins from 1966 through 1969. Earlier was the head coach of the Detroit Lions. Only 2 coaches. Don Shula, 25 years at Miami. First down on the 39-yard line for the Bears with 2 minutes to go in the first half. Steve Walsh booms it out and hit immediately is by Dwight Hollier making the play.
Boy, he drew a bead. He saw that thing the whole time. He was reading the exact same thing that Walsh was reading. Walsh looked to this side. It didn't happen. And then Hollier up on the other side is responsible for Tillman. Now, when Tillman's clapping his hands, Hollier sees it just as soon and just runs right through him.
Hollier had backed up John Offerdahl and now playing outside linebacker for the rookie Aubrey Beavers. He's healthy and he's got experience. 2nd down and 13. Going deep into coverage intended for Conway, and Troy Vincent was downfield and broke the pass up nicely.
But Walsh finally took a shot downfield, and that's good. Now you're daring the guy to throw the whole time. You see they have him in zone right there, and now he just runs. You never get beat deep. And actually, that's a great job of Conway turning into the defender to not let that interception happen.
Conway doesn't care. He threw the touchdown pass to give the Bears the lead. He's a quarterback today on the fake field goal. That's been his big play today.
And that was another big play, because that could have been an interception, and he turned the defender.
3rd and 13. Walsh on the screen pass. Gets it off to Raymond Harris, and Harris is hit hard immediately. Hollier provided the first hit.
Well, Hollier shows up in a bad mood, doesn't he? Now, the other reason that Hollier's playing instead of Beavers, he's a bigger man. And he's 255 pounds, and he throws it all on you when he gets there.
There's the flag. And Walsh is walking off the field. It'll be 4th down. 1:06 remaining.
Jim was the leader of the pack, and they were looking for adventure.
Jim, breaking in those new bikes, huh? Thought you two could use a cold one.
Thanks.
Ah, ice cold O'Doul's. Non-alcohol and only 70 calories. Perfect for a real road warrior like Jim.
When you want refreshing beer taste in a non-alcohol brew, think O'Doul's. It's what beer drinkers drink when they're not drinking beer.
In the 80s, a lot of companies invested their pension funds in questionable real estate. Unfortunately, that's life. In the 80s, we invested most of our pension funds in investment-grade bonds. That's New York life. New York life the company you keep.
Of all the books in the world, which is so timely that it forecasts the weather or offers stock market analysis and tells you the best seats at the ballpark? Which book is so comprehensive that it can answer virtually any question or direct you to people who can? Perhaps a book that has everything, a book unlike any other. The Everything Pages from GTE answers almost any question on Earth. Another way, it's amazing what we can do together.
Timeout charged to the Dolphins with 1:06 remaining in the second quarter. And on fourth down, Chris Gardocki will be kicking the ball. McDuffie back deep for the Dolphins. 7-6 the score. Gardocki trying to place this ball. Short kick. And a fair catch called for by McDuffie inside the 10-yard line. With 58 seconds remaining in the first half. A reminder, coming up on the Dockers halftime, James and Terry will have all the scores and highlights, plus James, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy, all of them. That's right, all of them will preview today's showdown between the boys and the Niners. Well, what do you think of that game?
Well, I think that until the 49ers learn how to stop Emmitt Smith, it's going to be pretty tough to beat them.
Despite the fact that the Cowboys are banged up, they don't have Eric Williams, Harper, not 100%.
Yeah, but they still have to stop them. Until they prove it, you know, they're not going to stop them.
First down on the 9-yard line for the Dolphins. Out of the shotgun, the shuffle pass to Cleveland Gary. Gary picks up good yardage and has a first down with Mark Carrier making the tackle. A hurry-up offense, gain of 11. Clock is running with 45 seconds to go. Marino with time, fires, and it's caught by Mark Ingram. If anyone knows how to run the hurry-up offense, it is Dan Marino. And a timeout called by the Dolphins with 32 seconds remaining after a gain of 18.
The great masters. They define some of the...
With the glasses, and we talked about Bernie Kosar, who really has a lot of input, doesn't he, on what plays are run?
Yeah, a lot of input because, number one, he's been there and he knows defensive schemes and personnel so well. And there's a good relationship between he and Marino. In fact, Marino comes over. The first guy he wants to talk to is Kosar. And Kosar is aware that he doesn't want to talk too much, to put too many things in his head, so he tries to keep his mouth shut as much as he can.
Wise idea. One timeout left for the Dolphins. 7 defensive backs on a prevent for Chicago from the 38-yard line. Marino can pick and choose, and he tries to go underneath to Cleveland Gary, and that's the credit to the extra backs stifling the Dolphin wide receivers downfield.
Well, he had enough time to find a receiver, and then he looked downfield. He wanted to go up on the right side. Nothing developed. Then he had to go to the secondary receivers, but the secondary of the Chicago Bears are playing the whole field, and they're zoning things and making you throw to where they're sitting, and it's tough to do.
25 seconds remain. 2nd and 10. Kosar gets away from a defender from behind and throws the ball out of bounds. Now there are 18 seconds on the clock.
Well, but Marino showed a little movement there that he hasn't had with that calf injury. You can see Richmond Webb is down right there, 78. Just getting up a little bit slow. But Marino bought some time, and that's not something he does very well, especially with that calf. When you look at that calf, the right side, I mean, it's half of his other one. It's really not developed. And in talking to him yesterday, he said, look, I got to be honest with you, I think something's wrong. I'm going to have to go back in there and see what's going on.
During practice, you see him with the knee brace. He's got the Achilles problem, the calf. 3rd down and 10 as the clock begins to run down, and the screen pass knocked down by Spellman right at the line, and that'll bring up 4th down. Spellman and Marino with a couple of jokes. Good-natured.
Alonzo Spellman's trying to talk him into something, and Marino's been there too many times. I mean, he's not going to bite. He just tell him, how you doing? Yeah, nice play, and keep on going.
Spellman got thrown out of the game last week for fighting, and he thinks he can get Marino to get into a fight. I don't know why, and also get kicked out. Jim Arnold will punt on 4th down. Jeff Graham back deep for the Bears. Good kick by Arnold. And Graham will let the ball bounce, and it will go out of bounds with 7 seconds remaining at the 21-yard line. Well, Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes are two of the biggest hustlers ever to play the hoops in the hit blockbuster movie White Men Can't Jump. World broadcast premiere this Tuesday at 8, 7 Central on Fox. Heck of a movie. I don't know how far Dan Marino could jump with all the leg and knee problems that we're talking about. Yeah.
He can't jump very far. But he had enough movement in him to buy some time. But then the Chicago Bears at the end of the half did a pretty good job of playing zone defense and stopping him.
Bears have to be pleased. Steve Walsh, the technician. So far, Marino has been quiet relatively. And the Bears have kept this into a low-scoring game. They've had the advantage in field position. And the Dolphins not dominating as many people expected.
Well, this is the kind of game that Dave Wannstedt wanted to have. He wanted to keep it close and kind of lull this Dolphin team into playing their own game, and that's what he's done.
And that's the end of the first half here at Joe Robbie Stadium with the score, the Bears 7 and the Dolphins 6. Stay tuned for the Dockers halftime as Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages from your local station.
You've already seen Lethal Weapon 3. You've already seen JFK. And it's the death. Don't miss an epic Married with Children tonight at 9, 8 Central. Part of Fox's all-new November.
All right, and welcome to the Doctor's Halftime. James Brown along with Terry Bradshaw. Terry, you know what now? I thought trick plays were things that you usually use in desperation, but Chicago, not bad. It worked for them.
Yeah, JB, you have to have trick plays. Every team in the National Football League has what you call, not trick plays, we call them gadget plays.
Gadget plays.
And they're fun to watch.
I love your remark. What, JB? Well, let's take a look at the gadget play anyway. In the first half in Chicago, Don Shula has seen everything. I don't know if you saw this one, Terry.
This is crazy. Little fake, whatever. I don't even know what it is, but it's a nice job by Curtis Conway, wide receiver for the Bears, who used to be a quarterback in high school. There's the deflection. There's Keith Jennings. Thank you very much. 23 yards. Bears right now leading the Dolphins 7-6 and looking good.
Gadget play.
Gadget.
All right, 7-6, as Terry mentioned, the Bears are nursing a 1-point lead. In New England, Warren Moon is having himself a heck of a first half. Over 200 yards. Right now, the Vikings are blanking the Patriots 20-0. Vikings looking for their 5th straight. Atlanta and New Orleans, always a big rivalry. Right now, the Falcons are leading by 13. Andre Rison, no catches last week. He's got 5 and a touchdown in the first half here. The Giants are holding to a 9-0 lead over the Cardinals. Buddy Ryan still can't get it going there. Philadelphia, well, Randall Cunningham mentioned that the Cleveland Browns had the best defense. In fact, they showed him that the Eagles with only 8 yards in the first quarter, right now trailing 13-7, that one in the second quarter play. Kansas City and the Chargers, Chiefs are leading it. It is 13-0, that one late in the second as well. Houston and Cincinnati, it's Jeff Blake going against Billy Joe Tolliver right now. Cincinnati is trailing Houston by the score of 17-10. And we'll be back with more of the Doctor's Halftime after this, Terry.
His wife doesn't understand him.
Do you think that the romance has gone out of our lives?
His boss doesn't appreciate him.
Where is that dreaded pinata?
Oh, missed me. Oh. And his kids don't respect him.
I told you, don't draw on your father's skull.
What does it say? I want to see. In fact, Homer Simpson is a lot like you, except he only has 4 fingers. No! The Simpsons.
Bert's making faces! Homer, speak to him.
Catch a brand new episode tonight at 8, 7 Central.
What does it take to make a city great? Well, if you've got the tallest building in the world and a beautiful lakefront, then you've got my kind of town. I'm Tom Waddle of the Chicago Bears, and for more than 20 years, Bears players have been showing you the secret of what makes Chicago a great city. After seeing all these players and the Bears owners, you're sure to realize that it's the people All those who give and care about their community through the United Way. That's what makes Chicago a great city. Here in town and out in the suburbs, volunteers and contributors are helping everyone from kids to senior citizens through more than 450 agencies and programs. They make United Way an organization that ensures that your contributions here in Chicago are spent wisely. Here's some more of the people that make Chicago a great city. These are just some of the children that are helped at United Way agencies. United Way, reaching those who need help, touching us all.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
Welcome back to the Doctor's Halftime. Now, coming up in the second half of our doubleheader here on Fox, the game involving the Dallas Cowboys and San Francisco 49ers, a game that some of you will be seeing at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Now, the major development today involves the right thumb that's on the throwing hand of Troy Aikman. You see him carrying his carry-on bag, not involving that sore thumb in that process at all. And back here in Studio 7, let's talk a little bit more about the matchup today. Terry, anything about Dallas at all concerns you that maybe they won't be as fired up as many people are talking about?
You know, the one thing about the Dallas Cowboys and the thing that makes them a championship team is the fact that this team can focus and they can travel on the road and focus. They can face adversity at home or on the road. They're defending world champions who are used to these types of situations, and that is going to help them in this football game. They are not in awe of this event that's going to be taking place today.
Another guy you could lock in a closet for 6 months and he'd come out, play on the road, play at home is Deion Sanders. He lives for this kind of game. If I'm the 49ers, I want the Dallas Cowboys worrying about Deion Sanders for 60 minutes, returning kickoffs, playing wide receiver. If there's ever an offense that Deion Sanders would flourish in as a wide receiver, catching the ball 5 yards, making things happen athletically after he catches the ball.
Well, Howie, I'm also interested in Deion Sanders one-on-one with Michael Irvin. If truly that thumb is affecting Troy Aikman and his confidence to squeeze the ball in there against tight coverage, then he may go away from Michael Irvin because Deion Sanders got him locked up one-on-one. And if that's the case, look for Michael Irvin to be screaming, "Get me the football," because he wants Troy to throw it in there. But Troy may not have the confidence to throw it in there if that thumb is a problem.
Yeah, and don't forget, Jay Novacek is hurt at tight end. That's going to hurt Troy. And Harper's been out all week with a knee. That's going to hurt Troy. And now Troy's hurt. If all of this is true, then the Cowboys don't have a prayer today if all of this is true.
Yeah, because they're going to roll McDonald up and go to an 8-man front, try to stop Emmett.
Right, and number 22, Emmitt Smith, is the key, but the 49ers can put Tim McDonald up there, 8-man front, and that'll slow that running game down. But if they try to do it too much, then that exposes all those defensive backs one-on-one, and that's how Dallas gets the big play.
Hey, Jimmy, but Howie was talking earlier in the pregame show about how San Francisco doesn't have a fiery type on defense. I believe you got to have a guy who maybe has 1 foot in jail in terms of the mentality that you want on defense.
Right.
What was the key for your managing wild personalities on defense that are essential in the football game?
Well, usually when you have a successful football team, those people are going to emerge. Kenny Norton was one of the guys that did it for us. Charles Haley obviously did it for us. James Washington did it for us with the Cowboys. Now with the 49ers, I'm not real sure who's going to do it, but somebody's got to come to the front in a big game like this today and say, hey, let's get the job done. We have to win this game.
All righty, we'll see what happens. The game is coming up, and again, you'll be seeing that right here on Fox. Coming up at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, the Dallas Cowboys taking on the San Francisco 49ers at Candlestick Park. All right, folks, and we've got more coming your way. Doctor's Halftime after this.
The Miami Dolphins 7-6, and this first half highlight is brought to you by MCI Proof Positive.
Well, I think the biggest thing is watch Marv Cook right there. See how he tries to sell it by not moving? And then when he does get out and everything falls apart, Conway just throws the ball right back up for grabs. Had to have Fontenot tip it in the air, and then Jennings with the score.
And you know what? Conway was an option quarterback at Hawthorne High School in California, had a pretty good year, so obviously they knew that, and this was really an option play for him.
Well, it was an option, but I don't think that was one of the options. I think that was L-U-C-K.
Let's take a look at the halftime statistics, and you can see in front of us now that the showers have begun. And you look at the edge, notice that the Bears have caught up in time of possession.
Yeah, that's the key right there. I mean, I think what we've seen is an adjustment by the Chicago Bears defensively. And remember, Marino came out early, and he just went right down the field, throw. They couldn't stop him. And then I think Wannstedt's done a good job of adjusting his defense to now make Marino have to really work to get, because he's still getting time to throw the football, but he's having to work to move down.
Let's take a look at where Marino has thrown as far as distance in this first half.
Well, I think the biggest thing you notice is he hasn't gone deep at all. The guy has not thrown over 20-yard passes. He's mostly under 10. You can see 6 of 12 underneath. And that surprises me, because when you think of Marino, you think about him pushing the ball down the field. And so far in this game, he's not done it at all.
Well, we had some brief sunshine in the first half, but now it is raining hard. The showers are here, and the second half kickoff, Irving Spikes returning for the Dolphins. And Spikes brings it out beyond the 30-yard line, where Marino and company will go to work. Taking a look now at the Dolphins in their first half possessions. Keep in mind that they have not had good field position and have managed only 2 field goals by Pete Stoyanovich for their points. The one touchdown, of course, the one we showed you on the fake field goal with attempt with Conway, finally hitting Jennings on the deflection. And the rain from the lights that have been on since the day started. 1st and 10 on the 31-yard line, and now we have a stoppage of play as they have to wipe off the football, which is wet. What problems do we have now for the likes of Marino here?
You know, to be honest with you, rain and the wet stuff never really bothers the quarterback in throwing. It's the wind that will be a problem, because they have 24 balls in every game, so you'll get a dry football out there.
And we got wind. They had it from the start. Spikes going off the right side. Picks up a couple. Mark Carrier making the stop and a pickup of 3. Bears have not lost this year when they've been leading at halftime, and they have that 1-point edge.
And I also think it's safe to say that the Bears are accustomed to this kind of weather, because remember, back in Chicago, their field has been a mess, and they've been getting hit with a lot of rain. Remember, the Monday night game was terrible, so they should be fine. This should be a bunch of mutters out there.
Packers really took the game to them on that rainy Monday. 2nd down and 8 for Marino. Again, you can hear the wind. Marino gets out of trouble, hits Keith Jackson, who tries to lateral to Saxon, and a loose ball, and the Bears may have it.
Keith Jackson thought he was back in Philadelphia with Buddy Ryan.
Dante Jones recovers the fumble, and you wonder why, and Don Shula may be thinking in this kind of weather why you would try anything fancy like that.
And the first thing you got to say is it planned? There's the catch, and I think the second thing is safe to say there's no way that that's planned. And that was just a night at the Improv with Jackson, and it just came back and bit him in the rear. The ball comes out, and it's a duck, which is appropriate for the weather. Then he just throws it over there, and Saxon can't get on it.
I think it's the last thing you want to do with a wet football in wind and rain. So the Bears have it on the Dolphin 40, and the rain and wind picks up. On 1st down, Lewis Tillman finds a hole with a good cut off to the left side, and is close to a 1st down. On the play.
Well, what the Dolphins do is they play almost an 8-man front all the time, and they have their people strong inside. And so what the Bears have done to adjust to the running game is to start things inside and then bounce it back outside. You draw the defense in and then have Tillman take it out.
Of the Bears' 30 offensive plays, 18 of them have been in Miami territory. 2nd down and 1. Here is Raymond Harris, and he should have enough for the 1st down on the forward progress. Pickup of 3 for Harris. The Bears, looking to go 6-4, came into the game trailing the 1st place Minnesota Vikings by 2 games in the NFC Central, and the Vikings are all over the New England Patriots in Foxborough. Up-to-date scores come your way. 1st down on the 29 of Miami. And on the end around, Conway gives ground. Curtis Conway finally goes out of bounds, chased there by Tim Bowens. A gain of 7 yards for the Bears, and they'll take that in this weather.
Could have been a lot bigger had Webster not bought time for the defense to come over. Webster did a good job of staying home and forcing Conway to get deeper. You watch him down below. And he's going to come. Now, the rule is always stay as deep as the deepest. Now, he sees it coming. See, he starts going, and now you take it at an angle back up here. And by doing that, that allowed the defense that had been faked out to come back.
Greg McMurtry in at wide receiver, 2nd down and 3. Fumble, and the Dolphins recover. Maybe Bowens. And it is Bowens with the recovery.
Well, when they tried to run at him, they couldn't move him. And then when the ball's on the ground, he's right there. I think this is a ball that can be attributed to the weather completely.
If you want a U.S.-built truck with a reputation for quality, think Toyota.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Toyota Trucks, with a reputation for dependability that grows with every year. By Taco Bell, featuring the fully loaded 7-layer burrito. By Hager, 100% cotton wrinkle-free pants and shirts. And by smooth Busch beer and easy-drinking Busch Light.
Now the ball just squirts right through because of the weather of Walsh's hands. And then watch Tim Bowens. The bigger, powerful man just wins. He just runs right through Bortz. And then it's a wrestling match between Bowens and Walsh, one that Bowens wins.
And just as suddenly, the rain has stopped. And Marino on 1st down, going deep, and the pass intercepted by Donnell Wolford. Donnell Wolford still going. And he loses the ball. The Dolphins will get it back.
Great job by O.J. McDuffie. Tremendous job. He went from offense to defense just like that.
It was intended for Irving Fryer, and McDuffie continued to shadow Wolford and knock the ball out of his hands, and it is recovered by Keith Sims of the Dolphins, who get the ball back.
Now, there's so many good things that happen here. Finally, Marino throws it up. Now, Wolford will make the catch. Now, watch Mark Carrier come over and get a great block on Irvin Fryer. Right there. Boom. Now, that springs him. Now, you saw right there, 81, McDuffie is on the ground. So he gets right back up and starts to trail Wolford. Now, watch at the end. This has happened so many times. He's watch him. Right here. Right up in the air. And that allows the Dolphins to recover that thing.
And it bounced off of Albert Fontenot's back. So the turnovers are 2 apiece. So far, neither team has been able to capitalize on it. 1st down on the 36 for the Dolphins. Irving spikes. Very little. Carl Simpson making the stop. Gain of 1 yard there. Fontenot has been playing in place of Theory at defensive end, along with Simpson, Zorich, and Spellman up front.
You look at the Chicago Bear defense. I think one area where they're pretty strong is those outside backers, Kane and Smith. Dante Jones inside as well has been steady, but I think Jones has got to be more aggressive inside because Joe Kane has really shown him how to get it done.
2nd and 9. Marino with a design rollout. Fires, and the pass is caught. Irving Fryer, and he's out of bounds into Bear territory, and a Dolphin 1st down. Gain of 18 yards.
Well, Marino has some time because big run Heller is working. Watch number 73 on Albert Fontenot. And they're going to go with play action to come back, and all Heller does is just throw him. Now, this is uncharacteristic of the Dolphins. They're a pocket passing team. But it's a credit to the coaching staff to adjust on the fly. And now here they are moving Marino out of the pocket and running that boot.
Fryer has caught 4 passes for 57 yards. Cleveland Gary and Mark Ingram in for the Dolphins. 1st down on the 47. Penalty flag down. Keith Jackson, the tight end. And let's see whether that penalty was against the Bears. Dante Jones brought Jackson down after a pickup of 6. But Dale Hamer will explain, and they may bring this back.
Illegal shift on the offense. 2 men moving. Did not reset. 5 yards. Still 1st down.
Obviously you can't shift two guys at the same time. Bernie Kosar knows that, along with Gary Stevens. Now, Stevens and Kosar will talk on the sideline, and then Kosar will talk the play in to Marino. And he said sometimes he doesn't just give him the whole play. Sometimes he says, I like a run to the right here out of this formation, and then he lets Marino do what he has to do.
First down and 15 following the 5-yard penalty. Saxon is in motion. Pass to Spikes out of the backfield, and he is tackled by Joe Kane. 2-yard pickup. Kane, again, you mentioned what kind of a boost he's been came over from the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good football player right there. He's really aggressive. And he gets out there, and he lets it all hang out. I mean, if you have a guy coming at him, he's going to see that thing, and he will just blow it up. I've seen some of the best collisions on tape this year with Joe Kane on a blocking back.
Meanwhile, John Theory back in at defensive end, number 94, 2nd and 9. Marino is sacked, and coming in unmolested that time for the Bears was Tony Epps. Torrey Epps, that is the second sack of the ball game.
And number 65 is Torrey Epps right inside. Now, again, they go back to the pocket passing, and they run a stunt between Torrey Epps and Zorich. Now, Zorich comes across, and that makes the guard come over, and Epps does a good job of just working upfield. So much of the work inside is with Chris Zorich and his ability to move. And when you start making the offensive line having to adjust to the inside of the defensive line, things like that can happen.
3rd down and 20, and the Dolphins are going to call a timeout. They're trailing 7-6. So far, no scoring in this third quarter with 9:06 remaining.
There's no place on earth that I'd rather be than out in the open where it's all plain to see. If it's gonna get done, it's up to you and to me, and there's no place that I'd rather be. Come on along and head for the mountains of Bushville. Head for the mountains, it's cold and it's smooth, and it's waiting for you. Come on, head for the mountains of Bushville.
Come on, guys, you're such an inspiration. So hip, so hot, so happening too. U.N.A. That's a winning combination. Just wait till we get our hands on you. I can't wait, can't wait. Just wait till we get our hands on you. Hey.
Wind. Use it wisely, and you can go farther, smoother, faster, faster, faster.
Amanda plots a corporate power play. It's a perfect time for a takeover. And Allison bears all in the most revealing Melrose Place ever, Monday.
Later today, most of you will see the big clash between the Cowboys and the 49ers at Candlestick Park. And Matt, a lot of people think the winner of this game will automatically be the team that will have the edge when they play, if they play in the NFC Championship game, and that's not the fact.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. I think the team that wins this football game, particularly if it's San Francisco, has the edge. If not, the Dallas Cowboys will get healthy, and it'll be a different game the next time they play.
3rd and 20, and the flip to Craver. Craver in the ball game for the first time on offense. Gets the ball into the Bear territory. Gain of 15 with Gale making the tackle. And Jim Arnold coming on the game to kick, and we have an injured Bear player, and it's Dante Jones.
Remember, Dante Jones was hurt earlier in the season, and then he went out, and then Joe Kane came in. And you can see Jones right there taking on big Keith Sims. Sims goes to cut him, and he just goes low, and then he just kicks him in that particular spot there, Nami.
Mark Higgs was inactive for this game, and Bernie Parmalee, of course, injured with the knee, and they expect him back next week. And so Aaron Craver was re-signed. He knows the offense. And Robert Wilson, we haven't seen him yet, former Dallas Cowboy and a good blocker to round out the reserves in the backfield. Jeff Graham goes back deep, and Arnold will kick for the Dolphins. Good kick by Arnold. And Graham is going to let that bounce, and it stays in play, and it is down by the Dolphins at about the 3. And it's James Saxon. So now Walsh will have a long way to go when the Bears go on offense in a moment.
What does it take to be a champion? You're always striving to be better, pushing yourself to a new level. And that's what the Breakfast of Champions just did. Now, Wheaties tastes better than ever. There's a better toasted wheat taste, bigger crunch, the new taste of Wheaties. The Breakfast of Champions just got better.
We've invested billions to help businesses grow and have financed college educations. We help people improve their homes, start new lives, and provide financial security for millions of families. We also underwrite hopes and dreams. Transamerica, life insurance, consumer and commercial loans.
What if I told you everything you know about TV is about to change? Because now there's DirecTV, totally digital television. More movies, more sports, more of what I want than ever before. All through a tiny satellite dish about the size of a small pet. Stay. With digital quality video and CD sound, everything's going to look great. How does DirecTV work? I have no idea, but it does. Get your DSS 18-inch dish and DirecTV at your RCA dealer.
The NFL's greatest take on Al Bundy in the ultimate gridiron grudge match.
You guys couldn't score with your own wives, and we're proud of that.
A brand new Married with Children tonight.
Well, you know, special teams, the biggest thing you can have, see, as Sean Hill has right here. Now, he gets blocked. That's fine. Anybody gets blocked, but don't stay blocked. It takes no talent to hustle. And that's why I love this game, because a lot of times, all you need is the desire. And you can see Sean Hill got blocked, and he got right back up and was part of the play.
Bears have Wet Knight and Jennings, 2 tight ends. First down from the 3-yard line. And the give is to Tillman. Driven back. The Miami defense, as Matt has mentioned, one of the big keys is why the Dolphins have made great strides. They've always had the offense with Marino and company. That was a 2-yard gain.
And they're starting to get the crowd into it down there. You're starting to get a little bit of emotion. Remember we talked about the Bears, how they kind of lull you. Not only do they lull the guys on the field into it, but they also lull the crowd into it. And when you can take a crowd out on the road, you've done a great job.
Walsh to pass from the end zone, and the pass is caught by Graham. He gets out of danger, and a gain that time of 9. And right now, for a McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown in our Hollywood studio.
Hey, Dick, the scoring drought for New England is over. Over 10 quarters without a touchdown snap here. Bledsoe's 31-yarder finds Ray Crittenden for the score, but guess what? New England still trails by 10. Back to Dick and Matt.
But plenty of time in that game. The Bears get a big first down, and now they're on the 14. Walsh looking to throw, and he passes to Keith Jennings, the tight end, shy of the 20-yard line, with Hollier defending and a gain of 6 yards. Well, this game summary is brought to you by Budweiser. There have been 4 turnovers, 2 by each side, but no one has been able to capitalize as a result. Miami has outgained the Chicago Bears by about 60 yards, and the one touchdown today was thrown by a wide receiver on a fake field goal. Curtis Conway, 23 yards to Keith Jennings. 2nd down and 4. Pushed from the inside by Bowens. Let's see whether he was drawn offside. 2 flags now.
Yeah, Bowens jumping inside. He'll Dale Hamer.
Number 95 of the defense, 5 yards.
This is what they're doing right now. They're going up in the corner, and they're going to 1 guy deep, and they got 8 men up the front. And what they're doing is they're daring Walsh to throw the ball downfield. Now they go with tight coverage all the way. You can see Bowens jumps inside, but they're going with tight coverage. And they'll give you the underneath stuff, and they want you to take your shot downfield.
And that was a bad rookie penalty by Bowens because it gives the Bears a first down on the 25. Remember, they started from the 3. McMurtry in motion for the Bears. Tillman straight ahead, picks up 3 or 4. Singleton on the stop.
Look at Coxey on Leuenberg down there. And the play was over, and Cox was still headbutting him, and Jay Leuenberg was doing the same thing. And that Jay Leuenberg, you know, he's one of those same kind of guys as Coxey. He's a tough guy. But he'll stand in there, and he'll keep on headbutting. You want to fight, he'll be there all day long. And he got a great look to him, too. That Jay Leuenberg, he looks like, you know, he got a couple of screws loose, and he plays like
he may not be the only one.
I think you may be right.
2nd and 6. Pass is caught by Harris out of the backfield, short of a first down by about 1.5 yards. 5-yard pickup with Hollier covering downfield.
Well, remember when we spoke at the beginning of the game about the patience of Walsh? And we just got done showing you how they're running those 8-man fronts, and they're pressing the corners, and they're daring you. He's not going to be dared. The Dolphins are sticking their tongue out at him, and he's saying, fine, stick it all you want. I'm going to just keep on moving the ball down the field slowly but surely.
He's a surgeon out there today for Dave Wanstead. Faces a 3rd down and 1. Going to throw on 3rd and 1, and the pass is knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Might have been Tim Bowens, and that'll bring up 4th down. So the rookie committed a penalty that gave the Bears a first down, and now comes in and puts pressure on, forcing the Bears to kick it away.
Well, this kid is the real deal. He's just going to get better and better. You can see he's just going with power. And Bortzi's hanging on to him, doing everything he can, but sometimes it's just a mismatch, and right there it was. He's a big, powerful man. 2 years, we're going to be talking about Tim Bowens, perennial All-Pro.
Chris Gardocki punts it away, and O.J. McDuffie will have room to return from the 20-yard line. McDuffie, good bit of running inside, and will give the Dolphins decent field position after a 12-yard return.
What could possibly be as precise as the tolerances within one of the finest Swiss watches available? How about some of the tolerances within the engine and suspension of one of the finest automobiles available?
Want to remind you this game is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Miami Dolphins and the National Football League is prohibited. First down for Miami on their 33-yard line, trailing 7-6. And off. Spikes. Irving Spikes wrestled down first by Burton and then a host of the Chicago Bears. Spikes has gained 56 yards on 13 carries so far today. Game is filled with defense with the low scoring, tough play, and 2 of the greats of all time. Dick Butkus, now a Bears radio broadcaster on the left, and of course Joe Green, the great Pittsburgh Steeler, the defensive line coach for the Dolphins.
And both of them embodied what those defenses were all about. It was fun to watch them, but it's even more fun to listen to them before the game. They tell better stories than they ever did.
2nd and 4, and the give is to Spikes, breaks a couple of tackles. Only 5'8", but Irving Spikes knows how to run, and he picks up 10 yards near midfield and a first down.
Remember, we talked about how he's tough to pick up, and he's hard to see back there. He's only 5'8", and plus he runs low. But most important, he's a powerful guy. You can see Dante Jones is not in there right now, and Minter just gets blocked. A nice job by the O-line of just opening that hole and allowing Irving Spikes to just blow right up the middle.
Dolphins on their own 49, first down. Marino drills it, and the pass is caught. No, incomplete. O.J. McDuffie complaining that he had caught the ball, but he had trapped it, and it will be second down.
You know what I always loved about Marino? I mean, when there's a play, one way or the other, sometimes like that time, he walked 15 yards downfield to start talking about it. And the thing you don't always know is if he's yelling at the guy, if he's complimenting the guy, if he's yelling at the official, but he's really into the game. He plays really emotional, and you don't really see a lot of quarterbacks get that emotional out there.
And he is the leader. He's a presence. Second down, 10. Plenty of time. Marino goes underneath. Pass to Irving Fryer. And Fryer on a crossing pattern has the first down inside the 40-yard line of the Chicago Bears. And right now, let's send you back to James Brown in Hollywood. JB?
All right, Dick, a lot of questions regarding the condition of the bruised right thumb on the throwing hand of Troy Aikman. There he is less than 5 minutes ago, throwing with apparently no pain. But again, that's just a little dink pass there. We'll find out whether or not it is bothering him. That'll be coming up in just about an hour. Dallas and San Francisco in Candlestick. Right now, let's take you back to Miami. Dick Stockton and Matt Millen.
Remember, the Cowboys have won the last 3 meetings. Here is Spikes looking for running room and nothing there. And, of course, I think Steve Young, of all people, would like to break that string today.
Well, I don't think there's any question. He'd like to break the string because everybody's been getting on him about not coming up with the big game. But the guy who's playing a pretty big game today is Irving Spikes. And I think he's answered some questions. And I think it's a credit to Shula and his offense, because this is about the 4th guy who's run the football for the Miami Dolphins, and all of them effectively. So you have to pat Shula on the back, and then you have to go look at that offensive line and pat them on the back.
Parmalee and Kirby are their top 2 rushers, both injured. Spikes is number 3, second down and 11. Pressure. The yard line where Donnell Wolford is there, and that's the offensive sequence of the game. Yelling again.
Yes, sir. There's a little emotion. Well, you see what happened was Spellman came clean off the corner, and a great read by Marino on the run to find the open receiver. He knew where the guy was coming from, and boom, right back inside.
6 catches for Fryer for 78 yards. 3rd and 1. 3 tight ends. Keith Jackson, Ronnie Williams, and Greg Beatty for the Dolphins. Spikes, and he's not going to make it as he is driven back by several Bears led by Wolford, who forced from the secondary. And it's 4th down.
But that's a great job of the defense of the Bears are reading their keys. And what happened was Kane and them came blowing up inside and made the running back bounce it back outside, and that allowed Wolford to come right to Cox, mess everything up inside. See, he made Sims go deep, and by doing that, that allows Minter to come in and Sean Gale and all those guys to get right on it, and that sets up a 4th and 1.
And they're going to go for it on 4th and 1 on the 30, trailing the Bears 7-6. Marino to throw, and it's incomplete, intended for Keith Jackson, and covered well downfield.
And great pressure by Chris Zorich underneath.
Zorich with the pressure. Barry Minter was covering Jackson, and the Bears will take over on down.
Yeah, they had it all the way, and in comes Chris Zorich, number 97. You talk about, look, getting doubled, and then they just kind of forget about him. Zorich blows through to give the pressure for the incomplete pass.
Black 97, yellow 41.
Quarterback Jeff Blake helped the new-look Bengals to their first win of the season. NFL start. Jeff Blake passed for 387 yards as Cincinnati upset the Seattle Seahawks. His 76-yard bomb to rookie Darnay Scott helped set up a dramatic game-winning field goal in overtime. Hager salutes Jeff Blake and the new-look Cincinnati Bengals.
3 guys make the big play. You got Cox, Minter, and Zorich. Now, because of Cox and Minter in the coverage, Zorich can get the pressure. Now, watch Minter inside on the tight end Jackson, and then Cox right outside. See, they jump their guys right away. And then you have the safety over the top, and that allows Zorich to put the pressure underneath.
So the Bears take over on the 31-yard line after stopping the Dolphins on 3rd and 1 and then 4th down, and we'll have a false start against the Bears on a delay taking the snap.
Number 4, 5 yards, still first down.
32 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. We have not had any scoring in this session after the Bears took a 7-6 lead at the half.
Steve Walsh is playing under control right now, and he has that offense playing under control, and they're winning the field position game.
That was only the 2nd penalty by the Bears, so not only no mistakes by Walsh, but only 2 penalties by Chicago. 1st down and 15, back on the 26. Play fake, and the pass to Tillman out of the backfield. And he's hit hard, shy of the 35-yard line, and that may be the last play of the quarter. J.B. Brown on the play, gain of 9.
Well, he had Curtis Conway all alone. Watch Conway right here. He gets by the DB, and the safety's still inside. Here, see, he comes up. That has 6 points written all over it because nobody is there. And then one of the rare instances that Walsh doesn't find the real open receiver.
And that is the end of the 3rd quarter with the score, the Bears 7 and the Dolphins 6. And Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages from your local station.
Welcome to Overland. Fox.
Steve Walsh with time, and the pass incomplete. He was going for Conway, and that will bring up 3rd down. Along with Matt Millen, this is Dick Stockton here at Joe Robbie Stadium as the rain starts again. There's the scoring. We had none in the 3rd quarter. The Bears, who have never won in Miami, they were 0-3 in the Orange Bowl, and this is their first regular season appearance at Joe Robbie Stadium.
Well, remember what Dave Weinstadt told us, if we could just keep it close to the 4th quarter, we'll win this thing. Well, right now it's close, and he's got a lead. Let's see if his words hold true.
Nate Lewis in at wide receiver, Robert Green the back. 3rd and 6. They just got it off in time, and Walsh's pass is caught by Conway, and he gets by Vincent. And gets about 10 or 12 extra yards into Miami territory. Gene Atkins finally makes the tackle and a big gain of 24.
Well, Curtis, this is all Curtis Conway. I mean, this is the maturation of Curtis Conway because Vincent is all over him. This ball should not have been thrown, but he throws it right inside. Then Conway, just with the effort to come back and make the catch and then work back upfield. Look at the coverage of Vincent right on top of him. Actually was holding him the whole time with that left hand. Great coverage, but a great effort.
Only a 2nd catch, but he's got 44 yards today, this Conway. Play fake on 1st down. Walsh has time, going deep, and it's caught downfield by Greg McMurtry. Atkins on the stop, and the Bears going to the air have a 1st down inside the Dolphin 20.
Well, McMurtry runs a physical route, and you're going to watch down below. McMurtry's going to come down, and then J.B. Brown is just going to get run over, basically. You see him right here? Boom. He slips, and then he gets the push, and that opens it wide up. And Walsh finds the open receiver this time.
2 straight 24-yard pickups, and the Bears have a 1st down on the Dolphin 16. And here's Tillman, nowhere to go. And Tillman will lose a couple. Marco Coleman trapped him inside, and he had company, Brian Cox as well.
But did you see how the Bears are trying to run that thing now? That they draw everybody inside and then bounce it outside, and I think it's been effective for them. Remember early in the game, they came out and it looked like what the Bears wanted to do was run outside. And then when that wasn't working, now the next best thing is start inside and then bounce outside. Nice chess game going on out there today.
No gain on the play. 2nd down. Walsh with a quick toss. And he's got Raymond Harris, and Harris, close to the goal line, is knocked out of bounds inside the 1.
They caught Hollier in a nice little rub inside. And they snuck Harris right outside. You watch Hollier, 50 is responsible for Raymond. And then once he gets out into the flat, It's just a matter of Walsh finding him. Watch him right here. See this nice pick by McMurtry. Did you see that? Some people call it a rub. Some people call it a pick. The NFL calls it illegal, but it's a first down.
Jim Flanagan.
That should be 6 right there.
Should have got the pylon. But Jim Flanagan is the blocking back now. On first and goal at the 1. Quarterback sneak. And no signal yet given by the officials.
And they're running right at that big rookie, Bowens. Tim Bowens, a strong man. And if you can't pick up a half a yard, that's a testament to the strength of Bowens. Now look, let's see if this is a touchdown. Remember, there's a plane right there. Now there he's in the air. I got news for you, people. That is 6 points, and Dale Hamer's crew blew it.
They were right there. Second and goal at the 1. Another quarterback sneak, and I don't think he made it again. Let's wait.
Stay back. They didn't give it the signal.
Unless it was the second effort by Walsh that got him over, but initially he didn't make it.
Now you see right here, Jerry Burkeville, he's responsible as the head linesman to give that call. And that did not go up.
It'll be third down, and I'd say inches.
Now, when you run quarterback sneaks, remember, the best quarterback sneakers in the league will take that step first to allow everything to develop in front of them, and then you slide into it.
Little delay, right?
Yeah, Randall Cunningham does it very well. Walsh has not done that. He just got right behind the big old rear ends in front of him and tried to push it through.
This time the Bears get the touchdown. Lewis Tillman. And the Bears only 2 touchdowns in this game. And who would have thought, Matt, coming into the fourth quarter, that the Dolphins would be held without a TD?
Not me, that's for sure. I mean, we talked about this last night, and we expected Marino to move the ball down the field. And they came out doing it with ease. But great adjustments by Wannstedt's defense. And nice adjustment by this Bear offense also have put them up now with a chance to go 14-6.
Kevin Butler, who has not missed a point after this season. And he gives the Bears a 14-6 lead. And for Lewis Tillman, his 5th touchdown rushing of the season.
People tell us we beat up our trucks more in our commercials than they'd ever dream of.
Like a rock.
Well, they should be on one of our assembly lines when we snatch a truck at random and literally rip it.
Dolphins have tied the game at 14 with 5:46 remaining on a scoring drive that chewed up 5 minutes and 27 seconds, 69 yards. 8 for 9 for Marino, and the 11-yard touchdown pass to Keith Jackson. His 5th TD catch of the year. And on the kickoff, Nate Lewis returning for the Bears. Lewis with a good return. Brings it up right at the 30-yard line. Deion Fox makes the tackle. That was a 29-yard return. Back to Joe Robbie Stadium after this.
That they ruled not an interception. It comes right down. And then that makes this play possible. And what the Bears do is they rush 3 and they drop off 8. And it's only because Marino can throw the ball like he does that it's a touchdown.
And Dan Marino now has thrown 20 touchdown passes for the 11th straight season, which extends his NFL record. Bears first down on the 30. Walsh's pass caught by Conway. First down Bears. Wrestled down by Vincent.
Well, I'll tell you this, Walsh is showing me something right now. I mean, the rules of the game, look, it's 14-14, it's anybody's game. What have you done well today? We've thrown the short ball. We haven't taken chances. We've not turned it over. So what we're doing right now is we're going to get right back to what we do well. Let's work to our strength. The strength of the Bears passing game is Walsh finding the underneath guy.
The big one, the Cowboys and the Niners coming up for most of you after this thriller. First down on the 43. Raymond Harris gets a couple. At the end of this game, Matt and I will select the Miller Lite player of the game. Score was 7-6 coming into the fourth quarter. The Bears scored a touchdown and led 14-6, but then the Dolphins marched 69 yards on 9 plays, converted the 2-point conversion, and have tied the game. 2nd and 8.
And this is where the Bears have to, if they're going to win, they got to win on this series.
Play fake. Walsh with time. Pumps once, and he hits his man. Pass is caught by Jeff Graham, and it is another first down. 15-yard pickup.
Well, I guess who's stepping up to the plate? The offensive line of the Chicago Bears. Look at the time to throw. Leuenberg inside, very nice. They try to bring Cox on the blitz, and then Walsh with the pump to buy another second. Look at the pump. Gets him up in the air, and then he's able to find Graham outside. It's an ugly pass, but it's a first down.
Bears line has protected Walsh sensationally today. No sacks against Steve. First down, and Lewis Tillman looking for running room and doesn't find any, and will lose about a yard.
Well, I know
Hollier in there.
Yeah, I know you have to keep this defense honest by running the football, but if you're going to run it, I like what they were doing earlier. Start inside and then bounce it outside, because when they're running inside, they're running to the strength of this Dolphin defense.
3:15 remaining in the fourth quarter, tied at 14. 2nd and 11. Walsh gets pressure, but gets it off underneath to Tillman. And the running back is short of the first down by about a yard. Dwight Hollier making the stop. Steve Walsh, former Miami Hurricane, coming in with a 4-0 record as a quarterback this year for the Bears.
And this is his kind of game right here. This is a thinking man's game. This is taking what you're going to give me. You do this, I do this. You counter here, I counter there. This game is playing to the strength of Walsh.
Hey, we got some eligibles.
Jim Flanagan, the defensive lineman, is the blocking back on 3rd and 1. Here is Tillman. First down for the Bears. And a little extra power for Tillman to the 25-yard line. Singleton makes the tackle, and we're winding down to our 2-minute warning. And the Bears are already in field goal range as we get down to 2 minutes remaining here at Joe Robbie Stadium.
Most places don't serve hamburgers hot off the grill. They reheat them. Not Wendy's. We make our 99-cent junior bacon cheeseburger hot off the grill with fresh beef and 2 strips of bacon on our 99-cent super value menu.
It's everything you'd expect from Wendy's.
It's Wendy's Fresh Look at the Rule Book with Terry Bradshaw.
Does Jimmy Johnson's dog look great or what? Hey, did you know if the defensive player crosses the neutral zone and forces the offensive player to react with movement, that the defensive player will be penalized 5 yards? Your breath ought to be penalized 5 yards.
Stay tuned for more of Wendy's Fresh Look at the Rule Book.
Order the big-size fries and drink from some value menus, and you'll also get a surprise. Not at Wendy's. Our Biggie fries are big. You can't get bigger for 99 cents. And to finish a Biggie drink, you'll probably have to take it with you.
Our super value menu, it's everything you expect from Wendy's.
This time around, you'll have it all. You'll catch the pass, catch the girl, catch the drift, catch the dream. Your time has come this time around, because everything's possible this time around.
Brian Cox, 51, is reading Flanagan, the fullback, 68 in the backfield. Now he's stacked. They've got to find him. Now he reads this perfectly, but look at this job right there. You see that? Cox ran up untouched. Leuenberg, the scrappy thing that he is, threw those feet up to trip him, and that enabled Tillman to come through and get the first.
Steve Walsh is 3 for 3 for 39 yards on this drive, which has consumed 6 plays and nearly 4 minutes. The Bears have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. The Dolphins have but 2. First down on the 25, and Kevin Butler waiting in the wings. Already the Bears are in field goal range. Keeping the ball on the ground to Tillman for a couple. And now the Dolphins will call the timeout to stop the clock, their second timeout of this second half.
The man, John Madden. Need I say more? Okay, I will. Football. He studies it, analyzes it, puts it in his game. Tough, real tough, full rosters. The all-Madden team. Need I say more? Okay, I will. Stats season long. In his head, in his voice, in his game. What do you want? Real players? You got it. High stats? You got it. Windowless passing? You got it. Madden, he's the man. You think John's got a big head about all this? Give me a break. The guy rides a bus to work. Madden NFL 95. The game. EA Sports. It's in the game.
You can tell a lot about a man by his shaver. The man who uses a bra and flex control appreciates good looks, has the flexibility to adjust to any situation, and he's not afraid to get close. But the most revealing thing about a man who uses a Braun is how easy it is to spot him.
I believe this is yours.
Braun, the world's most recognized shave.
Before we introduced the all-new Chevy Blazer, it was thoroughly tested.
Score, 1:53 remaining. The Bears have all of their timeouts. The Dolphins down to 1. And really, in Dan Marino's case, he doesn't need much more than that. He has led 28 career fourth-quarter comebacks, so he has already brought the Dolphins back once in this fourth quarter to tie the game. And if ultimately Butler kicks a field goal, Marino should have enough time because he's done it so many times before.
Right now, this is Steve Walsh's game, and he has been the difference, particularly in this drive.
Second down and 9. Lewis Tillman for a couple. Larry Webster on the stop, and Miami will use its last timeout. Marino maybe not needing any timeouts as they stop the clock, 1:47 remaining.
Tom, can I see you for a moment?
Yeah.
You sent that package FedEx like I asked, right?
Well, Carol, sometimes you've got to be your own man, woman. Blaze your own trail. Stand
Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys and perhaps their biggest challengers, the 49ers, go at it in the glittering marquee game of the season coming up in the second half of our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader following this game. The Dolphins have used up their last timeout. It will be third down and 8 for the Bears. Kevin Butler in field goal range may be called upon to untie this game. Ball at the 23 of the Dolphins.
See if they go with a little play action pass here.
Handoff instead, and they're not going to make it. They just use up some more time, and that will bring up Kevin Butler. And Butler will come in the game to try to give the Bears the lead with now a minute and a half remaining.
Remember, this wind is blowing across the field. It'll be going from Butler's left to his right.
Butler missed a 52-yard field goal earlier in the game. This will be a 41-yard attempt. And the Bears are letting that clock run down. 9 on the play clock. Remember, the Bears have 3 timeouts remaining, and they are going to use one of them right here. And they get the game clock down to 1:04. And that is going to lessen Marino's chances on the other side if Butler makes good, or even if he doesn't.
Now remember what Wannstedt told us last night. If we can be close into the fourth quarter, we can win this game. And then at the start of this drive, we said that this would have to be the drive to win it for the Chicago Bears if they were to do that.
I want to thank our producer, Richie Zients, our director, Artie Kempner, and our associate producer, Pete Macheska. In a tight ball game here at Joe Robbie Stadium. Butler, 9 for 13. The longest field goal has been 50. This now will be measured as a 40-yard attempt. And we also want to thank our fine Fox Sports videotape crew, Dan Rotante, Jerry Hausfeld, Ernie Bloto, Jay Beckman, Lou Liotta, and Cliff Wright. 40-yard field goal attempt here. And the kick is long enough, and the kick is good. Kevin Butler has given the Bears a 3-point lead with 59 seconds remaining, 17-14. And that's how much time Dan Marino will have to get the Dolphins into field goal range at least.
Butler hit this one square. It was right down the middle of those goalposts, and he knew it as soon as he hit it. Didn't even have to wait. Yeah, see, he's not real excited because he knows number 13 on the other side has 59 seconds to go.
Remember last week, Marino took his team after trailing 14-6 after 3 quarters. He came back and beat the Colts. He already has 3 fourth-quarter comeback wins this season and 28 in his career. Time remaining, and the Dolphins do not have any timeouts.
Well, the first part of the recipe for a comeback for the Dolphins is a great return. And so that's what was talked about on the sidelines right away.
Chris Gardocki will kick. That's O.J. McDuffie back there along with Irving Spikes. It is a short end-over-end kick and taken by McDuffie, who muffs it. Had trouble finding the handle and finally edges his way out to the 27-yard line. So Marino has 54 seconds. Those are his numbers today. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and Matt nearly had a second interception, which was ruled an incomplete when Wolford was in the end zone.
Yeah, and that was big right there. You remember the other interception that he threw down the field, and then there was a fumble, and they got it right back.
Bears offsides, and the Dolphins will accept it, I'm sure.
Offside on the kicking team, number 54. 5 yards in spot of the kick. Repeat the kick.
Ron Cox offside. Well, tonight, starting at 7/6 Central, Bubba Smith and Kenny Stabler host the Fox Sunday Night Sports Spectacular, featuring sports-themed episodes of your favorite Fox shows, including a special gridiron edition of Married with Children later tonight on Fox. Don't you want to be there?
No, I don't.
I know what you mean now.
Yeah.
Gardocki will kick from the 25.
Remember, last time was a short kick, and because McDuffie slipped, he ruined that chance. This is a better kick.
Much better kick. And it's going to go over to Spikes at the 10-yard line. Irving Spikes. And a fine return by Spikes close to the 35-yard line. A 24-yard return. Tony Carter on the stop, and now Marino will go to work.
And about a 10-yard difference with that penalty. And so that's a big difference.
Bears are 47 seconds away from beating the Dolphins for the first time here in Miami.
And about 40 yards away for this guy to have a shot.
Career long field goal, 59 yards for Stoyanovich.
They'll have to get closer than that with this win today.
They begin from the 34. No timeouts. Marino with a lot of time, and the pass is caught. Crossing pattern to O.J. McDuffie, and he is upended inside the Bears 40. Gain of 33. Marino nearly slipped. He's got Craver inside the 30. No timeouts remaining. Minter on the tackle. They picked up 9. 10 seconds remain. And now they stop the clock with 7 on the clock.
Boy, it's a thing of beauty watching Dan Marino work here.
And Stoyanovich is going to come on.
You know, I'm wondering if they can't get one more out ball. It'd have to be quick. Instead, they're going to be trying about a 46-yard field goal. With this wind, I guess that would be cutting it close, so you have to take your shot here.
13 times has Stoyanovich tied or won a game in the final seconds, and the Bears will use up a timeout. They will have one remaining and a chance to talk things over. Ice Stoyanovich if that's possible.
And I think had they had about 2 or 3 more seconds with this drive, they'd try one more out ball with Marino, but everybody got to the line of scrimmage, and then they had to wait for the official to start it and play, and that was really the difference.
And, of course, if you don't manage to get out of bounds, you ruin your chance.
Well, you throw your out ball regardless. I mean, it's either an incompletion or it's, you know, the catch and you're out of bounds right away.
It'll be a 45 or at the most 46-yard attempt by Stoyanovich, who beat the Indianapolis Colts with a field goal last week with 4 seconds remaining. There's the win. Which is going right to left. Jim Arnold is the holder. And the kick is going to be blocked, and the Bears are going to win it. Kick is blocked.
Was that Big Cat Williams who got his hand up there?
I think so.
And the Cat got the paw on the ball, and that'll do it for the Bears.
No heroics for Marino and Stoyanovich this week, and the Chicago Bears will come away with a big road win. Their first ever against the Dolphins away from home.
You're going to watch Big Cat, James Williams, number 71, stick his hand right up in there. They got, see that right at the top, right there. And what happened was they got way too much penetration behind Dellenbach and Sims. And you can see Minner and Carrier, they're just going to get their hands over and they just push him. And Carrier does a great job of pushing Williams into that, which allowed him to get the penetration and then block the ball.
And the game is over, so after Marino brought the Dolphins into a 14-14 tie, Kevin Butler's field goal with seconds remaining gives the Chicago Bears a 17-14 win, and Steve Walsh is our Miller Lite player of the game. Walsh was 18 for 27, 188 yards, and was perfect in the final drive. And there's Mike Shula, the tight ends coach of the Dolphins, with his dad.
And I think that's the first time a young Shula beat an old Shula. And nothing like beating the old Shula. That's what I always say.
So the Bears, in their first appearance ever, win at Joe Robbie Stadium, but their first win after 3 previous losses at the Orange Bowl. And so now the Bears will go 6-4 on the year. The Dolphins fall to 7-3. For Matt Millen, I'm Dick Stockton. The Cowboys and the Niners coming up next. But right now, let's send you out to Hollywood and James Brown in our studio. Baby.